Hi, I'm Aaron Garcia. Welcome to episode 17 of Conversations with Aaron, show where I interview local artists, garner a few recommendations from them, and highlight their works. Today's guest will be Moonstone. Hey, what's up?
Hey guys, what's up, man?
How you doing?
Great to be back.
Oh, yes.
Oh, okay.
We'll cut that out.
That's what happens.
It's coming out of the budget for students.
No
All right,
more.
cool. Everybody cozy for the most part?
I think so.
But just collapses horribly. All right, well, welcome Moonstone. So great to have y'all. It's my first time meeting y'all. I'm a huge fan with y'all's songs. So yeah, do y'all want to take the moment just to like introduce yourselves individually so we know y'all as like individual members and not just like a group?
Yeah, sure.
All right, cool.
I'm Gracie Armendariz, and I'm the vocalist of Moonstone.
Nice.
Lucas Armendariz, I'm lead guitarist.
And I'm Ramses Ramirez. I play rhythm guitar.
All right, awesome. So Gracie, Lucas, Ramses. All right, cool. Pretty sure I got that. I'm gonna mess up y'all's name. I apologize. All right, well, firstly, where'd y'all begin? Where are y'all from? How'd y'all form to be this like amazing little band? How'd that happen?
Well,
As all eyes go on Gracie, like, can we speak?
All right, is that okay?
Yes, that's fine. Go ahead. You can speak. Yeah. Well.
You can speak, and then she speaks.
So yeah.
It was a really cool, like, how it all began. Like, we've known each other since, God, I must have met you 2016.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I met you, like, because of her through like shows and stuff. And, but last year, and another friend of mine was wanting to start like a Paramore cover band. And so she was like, we need to hit up Gracie and Lucas. And I was like, that's perfect, let's do it. And so, but she actually ended up getting pregnant and starting a family and stuff.
Nice.
So that kind of fell through, but we still ended up meeting up. We were still trying to rehearse Paramore songs.
Okay.
And then from there.
Yeah, we actually, Lucas and I have been talking about, or really he's been trying to convince me to like start a band with him forever and write music because he's a producer and we have a home studio. And I was like, no, I'm not ready yet. And then we actually saw Paramore for our wedding anniversary in October of last year at Austin City Limits. And on the way back,
y'all were there? I
yes.
did a news story on that. That's
Oh,
awesome.
really? It was
Hell yeah.
amazing. It was such a good show. I mean, that's basically what inspired us because like we were driving back from Austin to Dallas, and I was like, all right, that's it. Like, we have to start a band, and hit him up, and we were like, okay, like enough of the covers.
Immediately
like,
got it on the group chat.
Yeah.
They're like, all right, we're not gonna do covers. We're just gonna be a
a band.
band,
yeah.
and we're just gonna
And
write some songs.
Basically, as soon as we got back from Dallas, we started writing like our first song. So.
Okay, groovy. Well, Lucas, so you're a producer, blah, blah, blah. Well, I guess this kind of goes for all of y'all, but like, so y'all all have like musical backgrounds, yeah?
Oh yeah,
I guess.
yeah.
for sure.
I've been in bands in the past. I mean, they've been in bands.
Yeah, we've all been playing live and toured, and
Yeah.
it kind of worked out because we had so many people that haven't heard anything
Have
from
been
us
waiting,
for so long.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
So we already have this huge base of listeners just because people have really been curious as to what we've even been up to for the last 5 years or so.
Nice.
Pretty much.
Okay, well, that's freaking groovy. I guess, this is a sort of broad question. It's a basic question. You kind of got to get out the way first. I mentioned Paramore. Like, so obviously that's like y'all's band influence, but I mean, is that the same as like y'all as like individuals? Like,
Well, I think that's kind of like why we came together is because we all
had a Haley Williams shirt
yeah,
on?
yeah.
we all love Paramore. I mean, that's kind of why, like, something that him and I had in common when we became friends was like we really liked Paramore. But we do kind of take influences from everything. Like, I've been in hardcore bands, he's been in pop punk hardcore bands. I guess mine was more pop punk as well, and you've been in all
Yeah, I
kinds of
listen
stuff.
to really crazy music.
Yeah.
Just don't say like math rock.
You ever heard of Dave Matthews?
Excuse me.
No,
I'm just joking.
my friend loves math rock. Math rock is hard for me because like I'm
It
used to
is.
like getting into like a rhythm.
Yeah.
Right.
But you
Yeah.
get into one
You're
and
like,
immediately
ugh.
like, get whiplash.
Right.
But
Yeah, I listen to everything from like Norwegian death metal
nice.
to radio pop. Like,
But yeah, I think
It's
that was
freaking
part of
legit.
it is like we did want, or at least me, I did kind of want to experiment with more of the pop side because most of the stuff I've done in the past has been a little bit heavier or like emo or stuff like that.
For sure, and it's been like pretty like it's been really cool to do something completely different than what we've been used to. You know, like you said, we've been metalcore, pop punk, post-hardcore. You know, for me, as like the rhythm guitarist, I only ever played like my first top 3 strings on my guitar, and then joining, you know, this
Power
band,
chords, like the whole
I'm
thing.
learning like all these different chords now, and so it's really cool. It makes me feel like, you know,
It's made us grow as musicians.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, no, that's great. You kind of touched on the idea, like, oh, I was only ever doing this.
Yeah.
It's always funny to me when, you know, you see bands like a Paramore, and so you see them, and it's like, oh, that's all they can do. That's all their sound. But it's like, no, like me, for example, I'm a musician. Yes, conversation with Aaron, I will one day release a song. I don't know when, but it's kind of interesting to like see a rock band, a country band, just anything, and like know that they're individuals, you know, like they're not all just like into the same thing or whatever. Like they've amassed probably like hundreds of thousands of songs and influences. So that's
Most
really
definitely
cool. And well, tell me about like Moonstone. You kind of touched on like y'all having like a fan base or like, you know, like listeners or followers and whatnot. And how's that journey been for you? And like, is that sort of, because, you know, social media now is like a huge thing. If you're going to be a band, it seems like you have to have that. And how's that been, sort of amassing followers and whatnot? How have y'all been like keeping them on the hook? Like if y'all sort of recently started putting out music, like how did that?
Yeah, so I would say the biggest thing for us that I yell at the band all the time is just pushing content, like just constantly posting on our socials and, you know, making sure that we're writing music and trying to keep people engaged. But yeah, I mean that's been the biggest thing as far as grabbing people's attention, is just constantly letting people know what we're up to, what we're doing, that we're moving forward with music and, you know, putting out new stuff. And soon we'll have a show announcement that we can't talk too much about, but
it's coming soon. It's coming soon.
Yeah.
Coming soon.
But yeah, I think, well, also like a big part of our support system, I guess, were, you know, musician friends, other friends in other bands and stuff like that have, like he said before, like been waiting for us to do something, because they followed me and him and Lucas, and so it's been years since we've worked on a project like this, and they were just kind of like waiting around. And we got comments, like I know me personally got comments like, when are you going to do something? When are you going to do something? So I think a lot of it is just like people that have been waiting to like hear something from us. And so you know, when we announced that we were forming a band and started our social media pages, we had a pretty good support base. So
Yeah, I made a band before George R.R. Martin released Winds of Winter. That was crazy. We're still waiting on that. Well, cool, man. Well, you know, as far as like y'all's like music, you are from Dallas, yeah?
Yeah.
Is that
Plano,
the DFW
yeah.
From Texas?
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Planet
from Texas,
We're from
wherever
America.
that is.
Yeah. Well, tell me
Planet
about,
Earth.
so y'all perform live as a band or just like separately in other bands? Like you said, that show y'all are going to do is going to be y'all's first.
So that's our debut,
possible?
and
Yeah,
that's our
okay.
EP release. But we've played live in past bands.
In our previous bands, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, tell me about y'all's live experiences. I've only ever had one live band experience, and I try not to talk about it. It was a nightmare. But yeah, so tell me, how is that? Like, I mean, is there a huge
You first.
Yeah, go
I mean,
ahead.
I feel like you have a lot of live experience.
battle scars?
Yeah. I was in a band called New 95, and we were local. But, you know, we did some cool stuff. We were able to tour a little bit. We went to California. We went to, like, Tennessee, Florida.
Damn.
So nothing too crazy. Maybe, like, week and a half tours. Where else was I going with this?
I mean, you guys played a ton of shows in the area, though. Like
For sure. Like,
always
I think the
playing.
biggest thing we might have done, what was really cool, was there was this, it was called Disrupt Festival. It was like for, I think, just a one-time thing. It was 2019, and the Used was playing. We loved the Used. That was a big influence for us. I think, what was that band called? Is it Circa Survive? I think they were there as well. But, you know, that kind of all came to an end once the pandemic hit.
Pandemic. Oh my.
Our
a lot of
band
guests
did-
I've had, they were like, this was happening, but the pandemic, I'm like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone.
Yeah, our band
Yeah.
didn't make it, and it's one of those things where everyone in the band kind of found and started making families, you know, having kids and stuff, and doing all that, and I was just kind of chilling, you know, just kind of waiting to get back to music. And so, that was really grateful to come across, you know, Moonstone and be a part of that for sure.
Oh, some good
What
stuff.
about you guys?
Lucas has some pretty good
He's got some good stuff.
experience too.
I've
What,
never
playing
played a
live?
show in my life.
No,
That is
oh, no.
No.
You never played a show as a guitarist, though.
Yes.
That's true.
So
That is true.
That's,
will be a
that is
first.
another fact. I was a vocalist all my bands before this. So I'd been in like, pop punk bands, hardcore, metalcore.
Jazz core.
Acapella.
And I had played like bass for a few bands, like filling in and stuff. But this is actually my first time writing guitar for a band and being the lead guitarist for a band. And our first show will actually be the first time that I've played on stage for a band, which is crazy.
For guitar.
For guitar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But for vocals, I was in a band in high school called Yesterday Chases Tomorrow, and it was like super hardcore scene. And we got to play with Ryan Cabrera, Never Shout Never, Chiodos, a lot of the older scene bands. And got to play in front of 3,000 people, which was interesting, but actually a lot easier than playing in front of small crowds.
3 people, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
American Idol type
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
And then I was also in a band called Beyond the Skyline, which is another local band here. And then I helped start a band called Down to Friend, which was actually a really big band locally around this area. But I was kind of short-lived with them. I was doing some other endeavors and parted ways with them.
Nice. Having like had all this experience, so I guess everybody like what is that sort of brought to like Moonstone? Do y'all feel a lot more savvy about it? Because there's like music, maybe like business side. Like, is there?
I think, yeah, definitely the business side, and just like, I don't know, being protective of like our music and what we get into, or the people that we associate with, or people that we work with. I feel like we're just a lot more like protective instead of
Yeah.
like, definitely for me
sure.
as well.
Yeah.
It's like I was young, when I first started, and so I was just like hungry for any
You would do it,
like
like, any show,
experience, any show, any experience, like anything. And so I think for me personally, that's a big thing, is like just waiting for the right opportunity, not just like yes, like let me hop onto everything.
Right. And when
Gotcha.
people listen to our music and come to see us live, and anything in regards to Moonstone, we want it to be a safe place for anybody to listen to. And
Absolutely.
especially our live settings and stuff, we want it to be a place where people get together and love each other and
Just come dance and have a good
a
time.
good time.
Yeah.
Oh man, there's so much I want to ask you, but I guess I'll save it for later when we're actually breaking down the songs. I like what you said about safe space, because I got a lot of empowerment from the songs that we'll hear it later. Can't wait to hear that. But okay, we'll talk about that. And this is a sort of broad question, a bit philosophical perhaps. The state of music right now, how do y'all feel it is? I mean, do y'all feel like we're in a path that it's gonna be like easy for y'all to like get big, or and if that's even a goal, I don't want to like
Yeah.
go like
Yeah.
we don't want to like what, but how do y'all like feel? Does it feel intimidating? Does it feel
Yeah.
like liberating? How do y'all feel about
I
it?
feel like that's a really good question, because me personally, I feel like it's a mix of things. Like it is pretty intimidating. I personally have never like wanted to be like huge famous or anything. I mean, I don't know about you guys. But like, you guys are like,
course.
Moonstone's not going to be huge and
Can have
famous.
like British
No.
accents or
Alright,
whatever.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and quit.
No, I've never wanted to be like huge. I think it would be nice to have like a decent following. But I don't know. It's great in some ways and not so great in other ways. And I feel like when I was playing in bands in the past, it was during a time where it was kind of on the cusp of like, I mean, TikTok wasn't a thing before, which I know is a huge platform for musicians. And I feel like Spotify like wasn't as big, like as far as like streaming.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of like on the edge of like I feel like you could still grow without having to push as much on social media. And then now it's like all social media based. And I like it because like Lucas and I are parents, and so we can't like, overschedule ourselves, and we can't like always, go out and play shows, and so we have to be kind of picky about like
Gotta
what we
check with
schedule.
y'all's children first. Like,
Yeah.
can we
Well,
do this?
and
Exactly.
the days of just playing shows weekly is just it's over.
They're gone.
Oh, yeah,
But it
for
is
sure.
nice to be able to like be home and like work on your craft and like show your audience what you're doing without having to like do any edit, without
Yeah.
like while still staying at home, and just have it be very like
Yeah, even the
online,
music
an
scene
online
has gone to
thing.
work from home.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
no,
everything is
literally.
just at home studio. You know, it's just
The
so-
concerts or whatever, just on Zoom, just whoa.
Pretty much.
But it is really interesting to see how it's like changed music in general. Like I feel like a lot of like viral songs on TikTok, it's like you don't even hear like the whole song. They're like song bites.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's something that I feel like I consider when writing music is like, like what could be like a really cool sound bite on TikTok? And I don't know, it has its pros and cons, but it has changed a lot, especially over the past like 6 years, 7 years even.
Which doesn't sound long, but it's crazy.
It-
Like,
No,
Yeah.
it is like.
I
it
do
is
think
crazy.
every era of music has its pros and cons. You know, like way back in the day, like in the 70s, like it was all organic growth, but it was also hard to get your name out because there was no social
Yeah,
media or
like
anything. So you had to travel to get your name out.
or just as easy as just recording music. You know,
Right.
like no one had a home
Yeah,
studio.
you'd go spend 10
Yeah.
grand to
Yeah.
go record 5 songs at a
Right.
rinky-dink studio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So pros and cons for sure.
Yeah, that's really crazy. And you were mentioning how like the idea like, what would sound good on TikTok? Like when y'all write music now, is there that sort of more like are y'all cognizant or like trying to be conscious? Like, I would do it this way, but I think this way would be work a little better, to reach an audience. Like, is that does that factor into y'all's writing process at all?
Yes and no. I feel like we try to keep it really organic, and I feel like the songs that we have decided to put on the EP, the majority of them have come super organically, where it's just like, boom, boom, here's the song. But there are times where I'm like, how can I make this like more catchy, not necessarily for the radio, like to make it sound radio friendly, but more for like social media and like TikTok and stuff like that. Or thinking like, when I do write things, thinking like, like what could I make into like a sound
What's
bite?
engaging?
What's
That's a
engaging,
huge
or
thing.
what could appeal to like a specific audience, and on social media.
Groovy. I like that way of thinking, y'all. You city our parents. Congratulations, that's awesome.
Thank you.
And y'all's child is beautiful.
This is our child.
Yeah, that's great. And
How's it going?
just curious about that. You are the first band I've met like where it's like relationship within it. Having been in previous bands, do y'all notice like a change in dynamic at all? Like is there more like if you're playing live or whatever, like more protective? Like I don't know, has it shaped the dynamic at all, like from y'all's previous experiences?
From just being together,
Yeah,
or
like
being
together. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's really great. No, it has its
Trying to get a close up on
No.
it.
it has its challenges, right?
Yeah.
Because we're together all the time, and we work really closely together, and we're both extremely passionate people, I would say, especially about our craft. And so, but it is really awesome to like be together all the time when it comes to like the writing process. I mean, I can't tell you how like in past bands, just like having to like write a song and not being able to like get your ideas to your band until like band practice, that kind of sucks. It's so nice when I have like an idea and I can just go into his office and be like, hey, let's do this. Or he does the same. He's like, hey, how do you feel about this? Or it's really awesome. I love it. But it does come with its challenges, like I said, because we do work so closely and we're with each other every single day. And so there's bound to be like musical disagreements, I guess.
Yeah, no, that makes complete sense. I got that. And well, tell me about you. So how does the dynamic feel to you? I'm like just spilling dirt. Like let's.
No comment.
All right, moving on.
No. It's awesome. Like I love seeing that. They're a beautiful couple. Like super nice people, the greatest people ever. And so it's really nice to get to be a part of that. They make me feel like I'm part of the family.
Sure.
Like it's really nice.
And he
I
comes
love it.
over, we make him breakfast, and then we
Dang.
write. That's literally,
Yeah.
yeah.
I make them breakfast.
Yeah, you make it, he's the cook, yeah.
Oh, man.
He makes
Showers
breakfast
me and
then-
everything. So what more can you ask for?
We
That's
got
why we
footage
have
of it
these
right here.
duckies
What's
here.
So these are my rubber duckies that
I love it. And well, like sort of talking about that, if I may, what's y'all's writing process like? I know, again, that's a very broad question. Like, if you are anything similar to me, sometimes it's a vocal melody, sometimes it's a guitar riff, sometimes it's an idea, sometimes
I
you're on the
touch on
toilet
this?
and something happens to you. Like,
Yeah, Lucas, you
Lucas
touch on. I
is
mean, you're
the main
he writes
guy.
everything. Yeah,
Very
so
nice.
For the most
I don't
part.
write everything. The band started off in October of last year. We started,
2022, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I started writing "Still Want More," which is one of the.
was our first single.
Yeah,
That was
which
our
was
first
our first single.
First
Still
song
Want
that we
More
ever
song.
wrote.
Yeah.
Yeah, first song we ever
And
wrote.
that one is available on Spotify to listen to.
Oh yeah.
And there's a music video for it on YouTube.
Oh yeah, that's
right.
right.
I've seen that music video. It's
Oh,
in
cool.
widescreen, right? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Listen
Oh,
to
yeah.
it, and you
Oh, he
might
is.
still want more.
And you just might.
Okay.
The writing process.
Anyways.
Anyway, yeah. So the writing process, I started writing that song, and I wrote that song, from the ground up until Gracie did her vocals. And back then, the writing process was really kind of strenuous because we had never written like that. It was a totally new genre for me on guitar. But now that it's kind of evolved, Ramses will kind of come up with some chords or something and bring them to me. And usually my job is to bring the song to life and make it into a song.
Oh yeah, I'll bring him like 4 chords.
And he's
4
like,
chords
"Here's a
that I
song."
learned from him from previous songs. And I'm like, what if we do this instead? And he's like, all right.
Man, that's
But yeah, without boasting too much about our songs, I would say I do write probably 90% of the song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Until
Yeah.
she puts the vocals on, which is the 10% that everybody cares about.
right. Man. Well, that's so fascinating. Well, first off, y'all sing like all these other bands and whatnot, and like so when you're writing music, obviously you're a vocalist prior, but like so. When you're writing, you sometimes have to like rectify what you write. Like, oh, I don't know if she could do it like this. So let me do it to where it's more grace friendly. Is
Yeah.
that a part of it?
One of the biggest things that after being a vocalist, because when I was a vocalist, your band would write 4 songs and they're like, all right, we got 4 songs, we got an EP, go write vocals.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, well, what if I'm not feeling those songs, or what if I can't come up with vocals for those songs? Because just because you wrote a song doesn't mean the vocalist is going to be able to write to it. And
For sure.
that was one thing that I really took away and brought to our band was if the song doesn't work for the vocalist, we're going to throw it out, because if the vocalist isn't comfortable singing to it, I mean, the song's going to be awkward, and like I said, that's the 10% that everybody cares about. So, if that part isn't more solid than everything else, it's going to cause problems down the road. So, our EP, we have 6 songs on the EP, right? Is it 6 or 5?
5? Yeah.
Something like
5.
that.
Yeah.
But we probably have written, especially me, I've probably written like 21 songs.
25. Yeah. Yeah. It's all
those
about,
6
yeah.
songs.
I mean,
So, and
I appreciate that too. It's like,
it's just creating space for her, and also, it also drives her to be more creative when she really meshes with
and connecting with the
instrumental.
song.
sure.
And yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
nice. And the lyrical content, so like the 10%, is that like all you, the lyrics? Or do y'all
Yeah.
sort of come up with an idea and then like one person writes the lyrics, or?
No, really, it's like he writes instrumentals, and then it's kind of like Ram. It like is sent to Ram. Ram does his thing, and then it comes to me, and then I write lyrics. And I kind of make writing a job. Like I'm always like journaling or just writing lines, or even like almost journal entries in my iPhone notes. And then I have it like in a folder, and then sometimes like if I have a song that I know I have to work on that I really enjoy that they wrote, I'll just kind of start coming up with melodies and then trying to like lay lyrics on top of them. So I kind of take writing as a job. I'm like always writing, just for not for songs that we're currently working on, but even for future songs, or even if it's just like I said, like a journal entry or something like that I can like take from that and put it on, whatever song in the future. So kind
Okay.
of like word vomit, and then
That's great, bro. I resonate so deeply. Well, I have an Android, but like my notes app goes back to like 2012. Just random
Oh
like
my
little
gosh,
lyrics I
yeah.
have or whatever. Like like I don't know, like nothing. It's freaking great, dude. And well, so more about the music. Well, first off, like how has it felt like sort of gaining more attention or more followers? Like does it shape a person at all, getting like a little more attention or a little more of a following on it?
It's exciting for sure. I'd say so. Like, especially since we haven't done a show, like.
Yeah.
Again, going back to earlier, everyone's been waiting to hear Gracie.
Yeah,
Everyone's
yeah.
been waiting to hear Lucas. And so I would say, it is pretty crazy how fast everything kind of feels, you know?
Yeah.
organic.
Like, can we push it off
Yeah.
for another year? I'm not ready.
Yeah, no,
even
really.
that's
Like,
just even like today, you know, like we were so nervous just because it's just like we haven't done stuff like this in a while, you know. So it's just
Conversations
getting
with
back
Aaron
into the right.
Yeah, we still have to play guitar later.
We
Oh,
still
yeah.
gotta play guitar later.
Dang,
Coming
that's
up
something.
soon.
I think we're gonna have a second camera operator too. That's pretty
maybe.
great.
but no, it has felt like it's really exciting because I do feel like all of the attention we've gotten has been really organic and like genuine. And even our first music video, I mean, we were expecting, you know, because
It's like 11,000 views. Though.
yeah,
Ooh.
and we had, you know, like I said, we had a lot of friends, family members that have just been like, when are you doing something? When are you doing something? But I personally didn't expect. I was like, yeah, it might get like 1,000 or something, maybe. And then, yeah, it surpassed 10, and I was like, heck yeah, like it was just crazy for our first release to have like over 11K.
Once we start playing shows, it's all downhill from there.
Yeah, I mean,
The
like,
rise
"You
and
guys
fall of
suck."
Moonstone. Well, that's great, and you know, this is something I kind of ask a lot of curators. Just, you know, the like social media, because I was born in 1995, so I like to think I was somewhat. Hey, you too?
Oh, yeah.
Awesome. I like to think I sort of had like an analog upbringing, but also like obviously went to digital like 2000s, like once MySpace, Facebook, or whatever.
For sure.
But it's so sort of interesting navigating
RIP.
through this world. Well,
RIP.
RIP, yeah. But yeah, I'm just like, so just sort of this like a sort of broad general question. Do y'all feel like pressure, like, you know, being on social media or just with y'all's work, like performing? Does it feel like this, I don't know, it's sort of like we have to be our best, or I don't know, does it add like an extra layer? Because like you said, you know, like each era of music had like its, you know, vices and virtues, right?
Mm-hmm.
This one is sort of like, you have all these people watching. I don't know, like when it's on the internet, it was weird. Like, can y'all
Yeah.
resonate at all or relate?
I get like, I overthink it. I like get too anxious where I feel like it has to be like this scripted, like if we take videos or something like this really like, I don't know, it has to be this scripted thing and we have to like come up with things for TikTok. Because it does feel like in a lot of ways, especially for TikTok and Instagram, you do kind of have to be like an influencer along with a musician. And I go back and forth about that. I'm like, heck yeah, that's awesome because it opens us up to like a bigger audience, like a huge audience, right?
For sure.
But the pressure is definitely on to like be an influencer, and that makes me anxious. It's pretty
Yeah.
like daunting. Yeah.
By the way, I want to touch. When I think of Moonstone, I think of like y'all's little trio picture on Instagram, that blue picture, and it's just so iconic. So that's pretty cool. Do y'all have like you know, if someone were to say Moonstone, is there like an image or a look or like a vibe y'all go for that you already have? Like, is there something that y'all?
Oh yeah, we've got like
Yeah.
color palette and everything.
Oh, I was so see. I
Yeah.
love like concept albums or like anything to make like the group or whatever album really artistic. And so even going into this, I was like, I know exactly like the vibe that we're going for.
Artist imagery.
Artist
Oh, yeah.
imagery,
Artist
yeah.
imagery, nice.
Disco balls, glittery, color
Disco ball,
palette,
disco ball.
yeah. I was really into like the color palette or just like looking the part because I did want to be somewhat like I'm still myself obviously, but somewhat of like a character with like a look for
Yeah,
Moonstone
yeah.
for me personally. But
No, that's pretty
Yeah.
cool. And again, it's kind of cool, like, you know, to see where you are like a year from now, like how that's grown and whatnot. And
For sure.
you mentioned concept albums. Just, you know, last couple of questions before we move on to our recommendations and some fun stuff. What are some of y'all's favorite albums or artists or music movements?
so one
The
of my
1950s.
Right.
yeah. One of my favorite albums I'm gonna save for my recommendations actually.
Nice.
But I think we're all emo kids at heart, but like My Chemical Romance is my favorite band of all
Carry
time.
on.
They're my favorite band of all time. Like I started playing, so before I was even into vocals, I played bass.
Nice. I love all these bass players. That's what I do. I'm a bass player. So
There you
There
go.
we go.
I dig
Yeah, yeah. Bass player energy is the best. Yeah, so I played bass and I learned everything by ear just from listening to their albums. Like I would just listen to their songs and repeat and just like figure out the songs. But yeah, they're my favorite band of all time. I will say
My Chemical Romance. Nice.
all time. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I just love going back to concept albums. Every single one of their albums are concept albums, and I just love the lore behind each album or just the band members in general. I love it.
You know, there are those viewers watching, like, we know exactly what you're
I
talking
know.
about.
Yes. Shout out to the MCR fans.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Do you have a favorite concept album?
See, I'm kind of weird when it comes to music. I listen to a lot of individual songs rather than like a group. Like I'll find one song and I will just beat the hell out of it until I can't listen to it anymore.
That's me with Always right now. Once You Love You.
But one of my favorite bands of all time is Circus Survive, specifically the album Blue Sky Noise, which I also am talking about in my recommendations. So,
And
More
we're
to
all
come.
just
I
going
know,
more
off
to
of
cover
our
on that
recommendations.
one. But like I said, I listen to a lot of music. Like I grew up listening to System of a Down and Sublime, like when I was like in middle school. And then I kind of moved over to like, you know, the Midwest emo phase because I was in high school in the like 2007 to 2010 where we all had our hair swooped to the side.
Bro, I saw a
and-
video from like 2009, and I saw like that like haircut with like the
Yes.
button up. Oh,
Oh yeah.
So, like the used
Good old
Chiodos,
days.
like just a lot of the elder emo bands.
Oh, for sure.
How about you?
Going off my recommendation, no, I will say, as far as concept albums go,
it didn't have to be concept album, by the way. Just like
okay.
anything you sort of like.
well, I'm gonna stick with the sorry. No,
Check your privilege, Aaron.
going back to you two, in 1991 and then 93, I believe, Octoon Baby and Zeropa.
The band U2, yeah.
Yeah, and that was also like their like change, you know, like they were this pop rock type band, you know, very like instruments and stuff, and then when that Octoon Baby came out, they took a whole turn and went like very dance vibes, you know, and it was just a complete change.
Yeah.
And I really like that.
U2. Guitar is the Edge, right? That's
Yes.
and that's the same band. All right,
Yes, the Edge.
Last couple of like things I want to comment on. You know, it's sort of like joking about 2007, 2010 thing, and just My Chemical Romance. Are y'all sentimental when it comes to music? Like, man, I'll hear something that like
Yes,
Oh my
100%.
God.
I think more so when I get older.
Yeah, no,
I'm,
it's
like,
just
crying a lot.
Like, you know, it's.
Gracie has a great story for you, probably.
Oh,
Do I?
About-
Oh my gosh.
About me
yeah.
being sentimental to music.
Yeah, he definitely is. There's a song from what is it? The Outfield.
The Outfield.
The
yeah.
Outfield that he drunk cries to.
Drunk. Oh man, that's beautiful.
Yeah,
wow.
it's great. But
It's
yeah,
Your Love by The Outfield.
yeah, Your Love. I just want.
If you're feeling drunk.
Listen to Your Love. No, I'm very like sentimental with music as well. I don't know. Anything that I listen to, I have emotional connections to.
Yeah,
Like whether it's like happy or sad, whatever emotion I'm feeling. There are some songs I just like, or even albums that I can't listen to because it
Yeah,
makes me like overly emotional.
Yeah.
Or like there's memories connected to it. But yeah, I feel like when you are an artist of any kind, like, I don't know, there's always like, you're just more sentimental to any kind of art, music, like
For sure.
movies, even film.
Yeah, if I hear like a really pretty song that I haven't heard before, or even if it's like a, you know, like on those like America's Got Talent or whatever, and there's like a 12-year-old girl singing like this
Yeah.
super beautiful song, like I'm gonna be like tearing up because
Oh man, that's how I am.
it just
Yeah.
it hits me in the heart.
That's how it is. Like I'm a pretty spiritual person. Like I don't know. Like I always look for signs or anything that happens. Like if a
Yeah.
song plays that reminds
Yeah.
me of someone, I'm like, oh, it's
Yeah.
because of that.
For
sure.
Like one song that like, oh man, hopefully I'm choking talking about it. Everybody knows "The Middle" by Jimmy Roder, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there was a friend I had that was like her favorite song. She passed away, but like every time, like the other day, it was so crazy because like I had a dream about her, and then when I got ready to go to work, I was driving. They played it. I was like, "There's no such thing as a coincidence." I don't know,
for
it's-
sure.
No,
I don't know,
that's-
it's really
yeah.
beautiful. Just,
No, one of my Grammy who passed away when I was really young, her favorite artist was James Taylor. And I still, like, if I hear a James Taylor song, like, in the supermarket, I'm like, that's her. Like, I connect, like, music to people or, experiences.
Yeah, and you know that's just the great thing about y'all making music or whatever, or just any artist creating anything. It's gonna live forever. Beyond this. And I always laugh at the idea. You were mentioning how like back in the day it'd be hard to record music and like I don't know, just the idea that like we come across like a random like tape or whatever from like
Yeah.
the 60s of a guy who never got noticed, but now
For
we're
sure.
listening to him.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I think there's a band called Suicide. If y'all know them, it's like this sort of very heavy band. You listen to them, they sound modern, but like apparently everybody hated them when they came about. Now all the hipster douchebags like me are like, this is awesome. And it's like, yeah. But
Well, that's crazy. With music, is that it? Like you said, it lives forever. You know, I thought it was wild that that TV show Stranger Things when they
Yeah.
did the
Kate Bush, yeah.
Kate Bush, yeah,
running up the hill, running up that hill somewhere.
blew the fuck up. It's crazy. Like,
Yeah.
and it's just there.
Yeah,
like
that's
music.
what y'all need to do. Just write
Well,
a song.
Right?
even, even what
Put
they
them
did
Stranger
with
Things.
Metallica too.
Yeah, you know, Metallica. You know, they're still.
They're
And then-
huge, of course,
but
but like
if
they,
you go
it,
on
like, shot them
Spotify,
back up
Master
in
of
the charts.
Puppets is now like over.
Number one, yeah.
Yeah.
I
for
laughed
on the
because like,
charts.
wasn't it like, it was like they got famous, but then they got all this backlash from those like fans. They're like, wait, Metallica needs to be canceled and all this,
Yeah.
all this hoopla.
That's a whole other part of.
Yeah.
Social
I
media.
don't even say just social
Yeah.
media.
Social media. And again, that goes to that sort of pressure or whatever, just like
Yeah,
or an image.
yeah.
But last question, or this kind of just popped in my head, and then we'll move on to the recommendations. Do y'all think it's still about the album, or do y'all think it's more about just songs? Meaning, like, because of how easy it is, you know. Again, this might be something. Again, I was kind of saving it for when we actually talk about y'all songs, but it's something I've been thinking about lately because, y'all know, like, I'm pretty sure albums are still selling well, but it's not like, they're going like double platinum as
Not what
like
it
they
once
used to.
was before, especially now because of Spotify, iTunes, all of those. People just want to listen to that one
or
song.
TikTok.
That's what I'm saying.
You know,
Yeah,
sound
right.
bites go
2 seconds of
viral.
a
It's not
song.
like a whole
Yeah.
album. No, we were just talking about. I think Lucas should talk more about that because we decided to do an EP and we were like,
Yeah, so
probably not the
yeah.
best.
from a marketing standpoint on the songs, especially with Spotify, every time when you upload a song, you can upload one song and you get a chance to submit it to Spotify's like watch list where they they'll listen to the song and decide whether it can go on one of their special playlists, which then equals you getting a ton of plays. But if you put out a whole EP or an album, you can only pick one song. So when you're dealing with Spotify, something to keep in mind is if you go song by song, that's a chance on each song that you could get
Right.
discovered by their big playlists.
right,
Yeah,
editorial
interesting.
playlists. Yeah.
And then also like she said with TikTok, like it's people have such a short attention span
Yeah.
now, and TikToks, normally are anywhere from 30 seconds to a minute, and so
Yeah.
you have this very short time span to one put music on, and two you got to catch them with that short amount of time. So.
Yeah.
So to answer your question about whether it's the song or the album, I think it is more towards the song now, but
For sure.
There's no rules.
yeah, there's
I'm not
no,
gonna stop y'all from
yeah,
making
there's
it.
no
Yeah.
rules,
Rock and roll,
and
motherfucker.
not only that, it is a really cool thing to say you have an EP, to say you have an album,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then also to kind of see how all those songs come to life and come together, and then another great thing too on Spotify is when you're cleaning the house or studying or something, what do you like to do? You like to put it on an album and just let it play. And when you only put out singles, it's kind of harder to do that. So just like everything else, it has its positives and negatives. For sure.
Yeah. Oh, that always reminds me. I think it was Gwen Stefani. Talking about like a dialogue she had with Prince, where he was talking about like his writing process, like an album. He's like, "Yeah, I try to make every song a hit." And to me, that didn't make sense. I was like, "What the fuck?
Well,
You want to make a good album?" But I guess the more I'm still a little iffy on. I'm like, "What?" But I guess you have like the singles or whatever, and then just sort of. But
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know. Who knows? I'm not Prince, obviously, or whatever. Rest in peace.
Wish I was.
But right. On that note, alrighty, Gabe. Well, thank you so much. I hadn't met y'all before. I feel a lot closer to y'all because obviously we hadn't met. I know the audience does, and you already recommend some stuff to the audience now.
I think so.
I don't know
bet.
if they're gonna like this.
All right, is this the one? Is there another little?
Let's do this.
All right, everybody have their sheets.
No, I don't have mine.
Oh yeah, my bad. Yeah,
Sorry.
we'll edit that out.
Thank you.
Here you go. Alrighty, gang. So the way this will work will be pretty easy. It'll go. I guess we'll go 1, 1, 2, 2, or no, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll
Okay.
do a backwards
So
N,
me, Ram, Lucas.
and then back to Aaron.
Okay.
Yes. All right, cool. Let me get out my piece of paper. Alrighty, and we'll be looking at that camera. All right, hello, audience of Conversations with Aaron. Moonstone and I are now going to be recommending 6 things to y'all. For me, I have a very random list. That's not on this paper. It's on this spiral. Whew. All right, and yeah, like always, I actually have a few short films, some songs, and some life advice, which I will start with. My first recommendation is reach out to people, man. I think, just, people all kind of like go through like, bouts of, depression or whatever, or just, I know there's that sort of mindset, like you see like those like aggressive Tumblr quotes, like, who your real friends are if they're not reaching out to you. It's like, just reach out to people. I mean, I guess, that has like its veracity, but just, just reach out to people sometimes or whatever. And, even give yourself the space to like maybe forgive people or just reach out to like people maybe you had problems with. Like, as I grow old, I'm reaching, I'm 27 right now, 30's not too far off. And I'm just realizing like life's too short just to be pissed off and bitter. Like a year ago, I did not believe that. Like, man, there were some people I hated. I was like, I'm gonna hate y'all till afterlife. Like, it's the moment you do it. I don't know. For me, at least, it just feels gratifying. Yeah, it's
freeing.
It's nice. So just that's gonna be my first recommendation. Just reach out, and maybe I'll put like some parentheses. And yeah,
life's too short.
Exactly.
My first recommendation, circling back to My Chemical Romance, is their very first album. I Brought You My Bullets, You Brought Me Your Love. Mm-hmm. One of my favorite albums of all time. Again, all of their albums are concept albums, and I just love the lore behind it, I guess. So Gerard Way was an intern at Cartoon Network in New York. He lived in New Jersey. They're all from New Jersey. And he was on a train, I think, going back to New Jersey from New York, and he witnessed the 9/11 attacks. And he was so like overcome with grief that he went home to his brother, Mikey Way, who's the bassist, and was like, I'm gonna form a band, I'm gonna start like writing music, because he was just so overcome with grief, and it was like something that he was using to kind of get over, seeing that, witnessing that. And so they started a band, and they wrote their first song about the September 11 attacks called Skyline and Turnstiles, and that's like the first song on the album. But awesome song, awesome album. Like, that's what I kind of like grew up on, and what made me want to play music is just hearing that album. And it's really powerful. It's really raw compared to their other music. I feel like the rest of their music is super produced and theatrical, like really theatrical, especially Black Parade is very theatrical. But I love just like the rawness of this album, and how you could just hear a lot of emotion like in every song, whether it was like angst or sadness or so yeah, it's an awesome album.
Man, they're one of those bands like her. Is it Helena or Helena?
Helena, yeah.
Helena, that's that shit I hear. Like, I think of watching House of Wax in theaters with my mom and brother.
That's so funny. I forgot that was on that movie.
Those credits go hard.
Yeah, right? You're like, yeah. Yeah.
Thank you. Awesome. It's absolutely amazing. And I know our audience probably like, yes, the album's a beast album. Well, thank you for that. Oh no, it's
me or you?
I'll go real quick.
Okay, go ahead.
My first recommendation is Paramore. Like, mic drop. That's it.
Paramore.
No.
All right, that'll conclude today's episode.
No, not only like aside from Paramore is kind of the reason Moonstone came about, but Paramore has always been just one of those bands where I've only known them since 2008 maybe, but growing up with them, and especially Hayley Williams and stuff, and the things that she went through as far as like depression and anxiety and all that, and her singing it and like being open about it, I thought was really like, especially during that time when she was doing her solo records and this past album and After Laughter, those were not the greatest times in my life mentally, and so having those songs was really nice. It helped me get through those moments, and so Paramore will forever be one of my like top bands, for many reasons, but
Man, imagine when we are opening for them. It's gonna be wild.
Oh my gosh. So I actually didn't, I'm sorry
Don't
to
worry.
kind of cut in your recommendation. I actually like didn't really tell the story about like how Paramore kind of helped for us in a way. And so we all three of us had tickets to see Paramore in Oklahoma City this past tour that they did. It was like their comeback tour basically since their last album. And yeah, we all three had tickets. We were, it was the day of our wedding anniversary. So we were like, what? Like, that's an awesome way to celebrate our anniversary.
Man, I'm waiting for that butt. Oh no.
Yeah.
Butt.
Yes. So it was a Thursday. The show was on Saturday. Our anniversary was on Saturday as well. Thursday night, they post on their Instagram, someone on the touring team has contracted COVID. We're canceling these dates, including.
they had to push it back
Yeah.
till November, I think.
Yeah,
Yep.
the Oklahoma City date. So we're like, great. Like, we were super bummed. We were like, first of all, what are we going to do for our anniversary? We're just going to go walk around downtown Dallas for the billionth time, I guess. Like,
Man.
and we posted, we were so bummed. And we posted on our Facebook, like, what can we do, like, for our anniversary to celebrate? And one of his friends was like, hey, I have 2 free weekend passes to ACL. Like, just take them.
Oh
and we're
my
like, okay. And that was now Friday. ACL starts Saturday.
Shout out to Johnny Gore.
Yeah, for
us.
real. That was an experience and why we're basically together. So yeah, of course we take them. We quickly pack our bags, wake up early in the morning, and then leave. And that's when we saw Paramore. And then on the drive back home,
Rest
we're
is
like,
history.
yeah, here we
But
go.
it's crazy,
Let's
you
do
know,
it.
like things happen for a reason. Like
Yeah, for
you
real.
guys
It was very
had to go see
serendipitous.
Paramore,
Yeah.
Freaking brilliant.
and yeah,
So
it's
I
crazy.
felt like I had to.
yeah, for sure.
Thank y'all for sharing that. That's freaking wild. Again, like I said, as a spiritual person, I'd be that person like, wait, this is a sign. Or,
Yeah.
Oh,
It
no,
really
that's
was.
exactly
Well,
what
Drop
we
the
did.
bag.
We
Sure.
didn't even know that Paramore was playing ACL until we saw the lineup. We were like, okay, Paramore's playing on Sunday. Like, how is this? It was just a weird, yeah. So we ended up seeing Paramore plus like 50 other bands in a 2-day, festival. So it was just,
Oh, that's when she was in her little iconic white shirt, a little hair. Yeah,
Yeah.
and well, it's funny. I've seen Paramore once, 2014. I met Haley Williams. She signed my ticket. She was talking to this like ravenous fan, so she was just kind of, oh hey dude, and while talking. But
Hey,
yeah, I remember going like 2015 or something. I was gonna see her, but she got sick or something and
it
canceled.
was that was the show with Fall Out Boy.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
at that,
That
and I
would've
was
been
like front row.
amazing.
I was so excited.
I remember I ran into some, because I'd already graduated high school. I ran into some high school buddies. I think my girlfriend at the time was there for Fall Out Boy.
Yeah.
So it was like Paramore, But then the people I ran into, they were there for Paramore. And I was like talking to them. I was like, man, that's a shame about Haley, huh? And they're like, what do you mean? I was
Dude,
like,
yeah.
y'all didn't hear the news? And
I was waiting
I would've been
in
so
line since like I must have got there at like 6 a.m.
golly.
oh man.
I was heartbroken.
And last thing, you said 2008. Paramore, was
Yeah.
it the code that got you into them? That's why I got into
You know,
because
I don't
Twilight
want
and all
to.
that.
Yes, like my sister, my younger sister, loved Twilight. She loved Twilight. So I saw that all the time, and I mean, low key, I love
Whatever,
Twilight.
you loved it.
Okay.
Yeah, but-
I was watching Twilight, and I love it. No,
He didn't even have a sister now.
no, but it was because of that, and yeah. Once I heard Decode, I was like, kind of like, who is this? But then, shortly after the following years when they released Brand New Eyes, and that's been my favorite Paramore record. I love them all, but Brand New Eyes just really like got me hooked, and I was like forever a fan.
Yeah, I love them.
To circle this back to MCR, did you know that Twilight was based on MCR as a band?
I don't know.
Really?
Stephanie
I believe it,
Myers,
though.
yeah. Stephanie Myers was such a big fan of MCR that she wrote the books while listening to 3 Cheers for Sweet Revenge, which later turned into 50 Shades of Grey, because 50 Shades of Grey was basically a Twilight fan fiction, so it's all
Yes.
connected.
Oh, okay.
See, that's what I mean. There's no such thing as
Yeah.
everything's connected. Oh,
What does it mean?
oh, man. The government's watching.
There's 3 white cars in a row.
There are 2 Yoshis. Oh, that's great. Ain't It Fun? Shout out is one song by Paramore
Yes.
that takes me back.
So good.
2014 when I graduated, that was everywhere.
Heck yeah.
But
Hell yeah.
So good.
I hope y'all have enjoyed our conversation about Paramore. Lucas, would you like your first recommendation?
Well, I'm going to keep it a little bit more lighthearted. I'm going to recommend my favorite show ever in the world, which is King of the Hill.
That boy, right?
Bull, which I grew up in the Plano Allen area, and the show is kind of loosely based off of Garland and Arlington. And just growing up, especially in the early 2000s, late 90s, and especially now watching King of the Hill and seeing how those people were portrayed is just absolutely hilarious. Because growing up with it, you just understand the humor a lot more. But it also, too, back to anxiety and depression and all that stuff, it's just a easy show to watch. It's very calm. And, anytime I'm in a funk, that's pretty much what I put on, just because it's funny and it's, lighthearted. And then kind of also back to what you said about speaking out, I just want to say how important that is. And if anybody ever does need somebody to talk to, you can reach out to Moonstone or any of us individually.
Absolutely.
Clearly how we met.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's this guy?
Please help.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. I really
Yeah.
appreciate that. And yeah, take advantage of it. Some good people here. Well, thank you, y'all. Only 5 more recommendations.
Yeah.
All right.
Oops.
Uh,
We'll make it quick.
Started. Let's
I'll
go.
second mine quick.
Now, I already have on my second recommendation is going to be a short film that was recently released on YouTube, directed by one of my favorite filmmakers, David F. Sandberg, known probably to more mainstream audiences as like the director of Shazam and whatnot. His film is called Cam Closer 2. It's a sequel to his original Cam Closer, which came out like years ago. Just a fun little well-made movie. So David F. Sandberg, maybe his like filmography isn't like Martin Scorsese or Spielberg, but I just like him because, if y'all know anything about him, he started on YouTube. He went viral off of that, and it's so good to just see him like, I don't know, like stick to his roots or whatever. To this day, he continues his YouTube channel, even though he's like Hollywood famous and whatnot. And I don't know, just watching this, there was this whole like debacle with Shazam 2. It kind of bombed high key, and it was all this stuff. So, but it was cool to just see him kind of go back to his roots and whatnot, and not, from my point of view at least, like not be discouraged by like the woes of Hollywood and whatnot. He's like, hey, like all this stuff happened with all this money, but like that doesn't mean I still can't make movies. I still can't do my passion and whatnot. And he put out Cam Closer, which is very spooky. That dude is like the king of jump scares. I love it. And so definitely check it out. It's well worth a watch. And David F. Sandberg, I love you. I love you, Pony Smasher. That's his YouTube channel.
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah. All right,
sure.
that's my second. Would you like to do your second?
Yes. My second recommendation is the movie Labyrinth with David Bowie, or just
classic.
David Bowie in general.
That Awakening.
Yes, That Awakening. Yeah. Amazing movie. It's kind of a comfort movie for me. I watched it a lot as a kid. And as a kid, I was like obsessed with David Bowie. And my friends actually called me Ziggy. Like that was like a nickname that I had for Ziggy Stardust. So yeah, David Bowie, listen to his music. It's good. And then watch Labyrinth.
No.
Good
David
movie.
Bowie.
David Bowie,
Bowie.
that's it.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
Is it my turn?
Oh, yes.
My turn. ASMR is on my side. No.
The viewers are just like,
My recommendation is the book called Surrender. It is.
you want to hold it? I'll bring it to you.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I got you. I got you.
It's
Forgot
my,
we had it. Oh, there goes Snorlax.
my brand new book, doing a tour signing. No.
Bono right here.
Yes, I am Bono. It's called Surrender. It's an autobiography by Bono, and it goes from his whole story of like from childhood all the way up until now. He's 63. Again, they're one of my favorite bands, but so many reasons behind why they're one of my favorite bands is the 4 of them together, you two, is just like a brotherhood that I've never seen before, like in a band.
Yeah.
One of my favorite stories in this book, and going back to how we were saying how little things gets like, this part made me cry. Like I was bawling, and I felt kind of like, why am I crying so much? But
I'm crying in the club right now.
yeah, and so it was in the 80s, late 80s. U2 was touring and stuff, and they were really promoting, because around that time, that's when they were trying to get MLK a holiday. And so, a lot of states approved it. Arizona was not one of them, and so they were on tour, and they were going to go to Arizona, and they were really trying to promote, like, hey, like, let's make this a holiday, you know, like, let's celebrate his life and stuff. And so when they got there, they got a lot of death threats saying, and they were saying, if you play this particular song, which is called Pride in the Name of Love, which is about Martin Luther King, death threats saying that if you play this song, that'll be the last song you'll ever play. So, you know, that's kind of crazy, you know, but they try to brush it off. They're like, whatever, it's not the first time we've heard this, you know. And so they start playing, you know, and they're playing that song. They're getting through it, and, you know, he says in the book, that last verse, he starts to get, like, shaky, you know, because he's like, this could be the end, you know. So he drops on his knees, closes his eyes, and just finishes singing. And they make it through the song, but when he, like, opened his eyes, his bass player, Adam Clayton, was standing right in front of him, you know, and he was like, that really moved me, because I was like, damn, like, this dude is going to take a bullet for him if that happens, you know. And so that just really, like, hit me so hard. I was like, wow, like, the love that they had for each other, you know, like, to protect each other. It was so beautiful. I loved it. I love this book.
Bass players.
I don't read.
Bass players.
Bass players.
But I read this.
That's freaking
So,
It was
yeah.
really good.
That's so scary.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So,
Well, and the fact that they just like persisted, even though they were getting death threats, I mean, that just shows like a genuine, you know, want for change, and just
Absolutely.
they really like believed in their values. Yeah.
for sure.
Shout out you two.
Shout out to you too if you're watching this.
You two on YouTube. Thank you
Bono's
for
in the
that.
comments
Yeah,
like,
of
thanks for the
course.
shout out.
Right?
That's a little Irish accent. Oh, thank you for that.
Yeah.
Lucas, you want to get on?
Yeah, my next recommendation is going to be an album called Blue Sky Noise by Circus Survive, which I had already kind of talked about a little bit.
Nice.
Nothing crazy behind this one. It's just a really beautiful album. This is an album that I can put on repeat and just listen to. Like, you can ask Gracie. She's probably sick of it because I've listened to it
It's a great album though.
literally thousands and thousands of times. And my favorite song off that album is Frozen Creek. Just really, the lyrics and everything just really hit home. And yeah, you should go listen to it.
Right now.
Right
the
now.
video.
Pause
Right
the
now.
video.
Just, yeah. Keep the tab
Come
open
back.
though. Yeah.
Exactly. That's how we get our views up. You don't even have to watch the episode, just have
Right.
it playing.
Right.
Thank you for that, man. Like, again, like me, I'm kind of like, I know a lot of songs, but then it's like, what are your favorite albums? I'm like, I can name top 10 songs easily, but thank y'all for that. We're down to our third recommendation. Mine is going to be another short film. It is called Pat Trap. Shout out to Laurel Collins. I worked with her recently on my film that's coming up in the next couple of months called Facelift. She played the character of Mom, and she was in this movie. That's actually when I was casting Facelift, Laurel applied, or I reached out to her somewhere backstage that It's Magic, and I came across Laurel. And her little acting reel had a clip from Pat Trap, and I remember I was like, man, that looks like a really funny movie. It's like a short film. It looks professional. And then I ended up like watching it through her Instagram or something like that. And yeah, just a really well-made, funny movie. I think it's just about a woman like going to a clinic, getting a checkup or whatever. But it's extremely well-made. It has a lot of things that I just like love. You know, not a reliance on close-ups. You know, they're just nice like scenes that the humor is derived from like the blocking of the actors as opposed to just like cutting. Like there seems to be like a real like artistic presence behind the camera, and Rachel N-A-P-E, and I can't even read my handwriting. I don't even know if this is, but yes, the director, phenomenal job, and I can't wait to see more of Rachel's work. And so check out Pat Trap. I think I watched on Vimeo, but yeah, check it out. That's my third recommendation, and yeah.
Congrats
Hell
on
yeah.
the film.
Yeah. Right.
Thank
cool.
you. Ooh.
Yeah.
Did y'all see that clip of me directing?
No.
I've seen
yeah.
that now.
Yeah, I'll look on it. It's
show it to
hilarious.
Breathe in, breathe out, bring those arms down. Oh, it's so good. Oh, cut.
Yeah, you'll have to show us more of your stuff.
Yeah,
I know,
really.
right?
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
My third recommendation, I'm going to keep it short and simple. It's Eating the Rich.
Everybody, real quick, just stare at the camera for like 5 seconds. Like,
Eating the Rich. That's it.
so alpha.
Yeah.
That's it.
All right,
That's all I have to
You're
say.
hungry. You
Yeah.
gotta eat.
That awkward moment when y'all become rich as hell.
Canceled.
Yeah.
I love it. All right, thank
that's
you
it.
for that.
Yeah.
Eating the rich, bet.
Gotta stay hungry. Speaking of eating the rich, no. My third recommendation is a local band here from Dallas. They're based off of Dallas. Cool bunch of guys. They're called Van Full of Nuns.
Oh snap! I think I've heard of that.
I'm sure you
Yeah,
have, man.
they're
They
Like,
are
you can't
popping
forget that
off.
name.
blowing up. Yeah, you can't forget the name, but man, I swear they started in 2019 because they reached out to my old band, and they were barely gonna start doing shows, and of course the pandemic happened, and we never got to play a show with them, not for a while. But even during the pandemic, during 2020 when it was at its worst, they still just had it figured out of what they were doing and stuff. And I gotta mention too, they're a cover band, but you know they do all of our favorite classics of emo, pop punk, all of that good stuff, and they do it so well. But their marketing, the way they go about everything, is incredible. It's been really cool to see from how they started to now, because now they're doing their own festivals, and they brought in Story of the Year.
Yeah.
Shout
Yeah.
out story of the year.
Yeah, Hawthorne Heights, Boys Like
303.
Girls.
303.
Boys like girls.
Yeah.
Ooh. Oh, that takes me
That
back.
was today.
That-
was it yesterday?
The
At
3rd,
Addison.
June 3rd.
Oh.
Yeah.
I was thinking about the Addison
Oh,
event.
yes. Is it not June 3rd?
I thought it was today.
Pretty sure it's June
I
3rd.
It
could be wrong.
happens
I could be wrong.
at some point.
Yeah,
at
at
some
some
point.
point. I don't know.
But no, yeah. And aside from how great they are musicians, the nicest, kindest people I've ever met within this Dallas scene. Great guys. And yeah, you know, just go check them out. They're fantastic, super fun.
I can't one
Van
more
Full of
time.
Nuns.
Van Full of
Boom.
Nuns. Yes.
They have this thing that they do. It's like something about the pizza and the crust and the Holy Spirit.
Spirit.
Something like
Pizza,
that.
the crust, and the
It's
Holy
amazing.
Spirit.
That's
Go check
awesome.
them out.
That's brilliant. Thank you.
Yeah.
I need more local bands. This is great. And then I'll tag them, and then maybe they can be on the show.
Yeah.
The conversations
Ooh.
Aaron lives to see another
Maybe.
day.
Ooh.
Maybe.
All right, cool. You want to go in and go?
Well, since we're making local recommendations, I'm actually going to skip to one of my other points here, and I wanted to shout out Tot Sauce by Nate Pierce.
Really
It
good
is
sauce.
a hot sauce brand made here locally by Nate Pierce. Every sauce is good. They're literally all amazing.
They're so good.
But yeah, check them out and get some Tot Sauce.
Tots.
They're
Man.
so good.
Is that available like in like regular stores? Is that, you got
Not
this
in
one?
regular stores. He has an Instagram, which is Tot Sauce, but it's like T0T and then sauce.
Ah.
They do like farmers markets.
Yeah.
Like they do events at Guitars and Growlers. If you've heard of that place.
Behind the gas station. You know.
Ah, yes.
And he's an ex,
Like, hey, yo, I got some.
and he's a really good guitarist as well, and played in bands in the area and stuff. So
Damn.
Very good sauce.
support it,
Sauce it up.
Man, not me salivating. I'm like,
It's
all right,
real
hot
good.
sauce.
dude.
It's
His
so good.
his hot sauce is amazing.
Yeah.
Damn. All right, thank you for that. Yeah, we
Yeah.
love recommending some stuff. And if y'all notice, audience of conversations with Aaron, the things I'm recommending are kind of local. So, you know.
Yeah.
Well, except Camp Closer, that's Hollywood. But, you know. But thank y'all for that. All right, down
Yeah.
to the latter half. So, the fourth recommendation I'm going to recommend to y'all is a song called Hypochondriac Blues by Maple. No BS is probably like, what's a local band? Shout out to Matthew James McNabb, my boy. I did a film called Cast Party, and he was in charge of like music. He also starred in it as Bruce. He did a great job. And for the soundtrack, he kind of included this song. And no BS, y'all, it's probably like one of the most beautiful songs I've ever heard. It's absolutely amazing. I'm always fascinated because I like heavy stuff, and I'm always blown away like when I can just hear someone singing with an acoustic guitar, and it like completely enthralls me. You know, like a song I've recommended countless times is Heartbeats by Jose Gonzalez, if y'all know that. And it's similar to that, but man, this one is just, the guitar playing is great, and the vocal melody, which as y'all know, like I'm a sucker for like a good melody. And yeah, it's just absolutely beautiful. Please check it out, and I apologize if I butchered the mispronunciation. As y'all can see, I'm very I have like a 5th grade education. So yeah, but do check that out. Hypochondriac.
Hypochondriac.
Hypochondriac. Okay, I'm not too far off. But yeah, check out that song. It's great.
You know. If you know, you know.
If you cry, you're welcome. All right, you want to go and give our 4th one?
Yes. My next recommendation is a local band called House Parties. Lead singer is Cheney. They are popping off. They are really popping off. Like,
for sure.
Popping off. I have followed Cheney for quite some time, actually. I used to manage a music school, and they, one of her old bands would come in and rehearse, use our rehearsal room. And so it's been really cool to see. I think she's had a couple of bands since then, but it's been really cool to see like her progression and her musical journey, because yeah, they're huge right now. Like not even locally, I would say, like across the board. I mean,
they're if not, they're at that point where they're gonna just
any day.
Yeah.
It's like boom. Yeah. Really, really good music, really catchy music, pop punk music. Her stage presence is awesome, which I'm like a huge sucker for. I love seeing a front man or woman just go crazy on stage. That's awesome. And one of our good friends who we were going to do the Paramore cover band, Haley, is their bassist.
Man, bassist, boy. That's
they're the coolest.
They're trouble. No,
they are the coolest.
So shout out to House Parties. They're awesome.
Do that.
Give
Man,
them a listen.
there's so much talent around here, golly.
Really, and
is.
I feel like it's coming back. I feel like for the longest time, like when his old band and my old band would play shows together, there was just such a community, and then it just like died. And I feel like, I don't know if it's because we're back in music, maybe that's the only reason why we feel this way, but I do feel like it's coming back. It's just different. You know, the community.
I
the
think
music
People probably
community.
figured out how to navigate it
I
now.
think COVID was a big thing for
I mean,
that
yeah,
too,
of
because
course.
people started
100%.
to understand what they were missing.
Right.
And I think it got
Shout
to a
out
point.
COVID.
Yeah, shout out
Yeah,
to COVID. Next recommendation.
Yeah,
No, just joking.
I think
COVID.
I think it got to a point, especially in the Dallas scene, where everybody was climbing over each other's backs, just trying
100%.
Yeah.
trying to
Oh,
make
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And I think with it all being gone and it coming back, people are starting to realize that they can just lift each other up and that it actually
Have
all
it be a
for sure.
community.
works
Yeah.
a lot better.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's always so great when you venture into something and like, you network and you meet people and it just feels like everything's meant to happen because you're meeting all, it's like, had I not done this, I wouldn't have met this person or this band.
Yeah.
Or,
Yeah.
It's really beautiful, like once you just take
Absolutely.
a chance on
Right.
yourself and do that.
For sure.
Damn. Yeah.
House
I
parties.
guess you weren't so bad, COVID. I guess.
Yeah.
You were horrible, but you did some good things.
It's all good. Look at the flowers. Well, thank you so much for that, house parties. And you want to give
parties.
your 4?
Was it your
Oh,
turn?
is it my turn?
Yeah, your fourth. Is it my fourth?
I think it's yours.
Yeah.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
I'm sorry. All right, my fourth one, Legend of Zelda, greatest game of all time.
Oh, so
And
just
I
the
mean all of
series
them.
or a
The series, greatest series of all time.
Oof.
No, okay,
Yeah.
I would say like
Actually, let me take that back.
no. I love Legend of Zelda. Like, and I when I mean that, I do love all the series. My first one I played, and I was pretty little, so I didn't beat it back then. But it was Ocarina of Time.
Oh, nice.
Classic. But the one where I was like old enough to like play all of it through and beat everything was Twilight Princess. And I love that game. Love it. And as of recently, Tears of Kingdom just came out. That's all I do. I don't even practice. I don't go to work.
He doesn't show up to band practice anymore.
I'm just like Tears of Kingdom. It's all I need. It's all I need. Good game.
Yeah.
If you haven't played.
I think the only one I think Twilight Princess is the only one I've played.
Yeah.
That and like a few on the DS, but Twilight Princess.
Yeah.
Apparently, I don't know if this is true. A coworker said that Twilight Princess. Apparently, Link was always left-handed.
Yes,
But then
they
Twilight
switched
Princess
it.
was-
Yeah, he was always left-handed from all the games leading up to that one. They made him right-handed because of the Wii controllers. That's how you attack, and most people are right-handed. So they flipped the whole, like, reversed everything. They mirrored the whole map and everything, made him right-handed. And I think ever since then, because now in Breath of the Wild and Tears of Kingdom, he's also right-handed, which he was technically left-handed to begin with.
As a left-handed person, I take great offense to the
Yeah.
fact. I'm ambidextrous. I write with my left, but I do everything else with my right. It makes no sense. But,
Sorry to oppress you like that.
Yeah, it's all good. The one Twilight, or the one The Twilight game. Oh yes, check out the Twilight video games too on Xbox.
Ooh, I wish. That'd be so cool though.
That'd be lit. Listening to Decode on
I
like
know. The
doing
baseball
a
mini game.
mission. Yeah.
That's so funny.
That's good.
Gerard Way's like an unlockable character.
Yeah.
Just cause.
That's amazing.
If you go
though.
up, up, down, down.
The cheat code, yeah.
There, yeah.
L1, R1,
There
L2, R2.
And you get King Bill.
Bo!
Oh
The
man,
greatest video game.
50 Shades of Grey expansion pack.
Oh my god. That's
Oh man.
50 Shades of Bo!
Only available on Nintendo.
my brain hurts.
Ready to eat for everyone.
Really?
All right, babe, you want to give your fourth recommendation, please?
Yeah, so my fourth recommendation is actually going to be a movie series, which is everybody knows is Lord of the Rings. That's
What's that?
Yeah. What?
I'm sorry.
go home. Lord of the Rings, you know, it started. They started releasing the films when I was in middle school, so it was super iconic to grow up with. I read The Hobbit when I was in elementary school, so I known a little bit going into the movies, and they just like. I would always go with my sister, and she was blown away by the movies. We ended up seeing all of them like literally 10 times in the theaters, like for each one.
Hell yeah.
With how long they are, that's like a month.
I know.
Right.
And I still go back and watch the extended versions all the time. Yeah, I mean, I've always been into fantasy, and I love playing RPGs and stuff. So that's like, it's just.
Did you
it's
ever play the
perfect.
Return the King video
Oh,
game?
dude,
Yeah,
yes.
that's some good shit, dude.
Yeah.
Like, that's,
I just played it not too long ago. I emulated on my computer, so.
it's a good game. Yeah, and as a filmmaker, I long for, but we mentioned Twilight earlier, like 10 seconds ago. I want to just like, at the time, it's like, oh, Twilight's lame, all this, but I don't know, there isn't really anything in the sort of cultural zeitgeist right now that's like a film franchise, aside from like Marvel.
Right.
I don't know, so when I think of like Lord of the Rings or like Harry Potter, Twilight.
And Peter
that's-
Jackson's a goat.
Peter Jackson, yes. Dead Alive. Dead Alive.
Dead Alive.
No, actually, Meet the Feebles. That puppet movie that he made, that's awesome. But yeah, so I wonder if we'll ever get to that level again.
Right.
Hunger
Yeah.
Games, I guess, kind of, but not really. But
Yeah.
yeah, curious. The Moonstone film franchise.
Coming soon to
Coming
a theater
soon.
near you. That's going straight to DVD. We're not even going to
It's
Gets
a
like
pirated.
recast.
yeah, bootleg and everything.
Oh, man. Thank you for that, Lord of the Rings. Quick, what's
yeah.
your favorite Lord of the Rings film? If you have
Ooh,
one. And do you like the Hobbit movies?
no, I don't like the Hobbit movies. I appreciate them, but the book was better.
They need to be 3 parts.
Right. The Two Towers is definitely my favorite.
There
Same.
you go.
The introduction of Gollum, Schmeagol, and also the big fight at Helm's Deep was amazing. So
Can you give us your best Golem impression?
no, not today.
He like just scurries
He
away.
does that all the time, and that's what's sad.
Yeah.
Do it.
No,
Just your little
I can't-
footsteps.
Come
Like,
I can't do it.
No pressure,
Aw.
no pressure.
let's get it close. All right, well, Two Towers, good stuff. That's the one I remember most prominently too. I always think like Legolas, like sliding down a staircase, like shoot.
And I did bring my
that's
beautiful Golem statue
All right,
as
let me
well.
make sure that the camera can.
That's how I look like in the morning
That's
There you
me.
go.
and the afternoon and the night. All
That's you
around,
right now.
just all day around.
All right, beautiful. Thank you for that. Yeah. All right, down to our last two. Fifth recommendation I'm going to recommend to y'all is another song. It's by Pluto's Kiss, and the song, man, I'm going to be real with y'all. I don't know if I'm pronouncing this correctly. Lorazepam, Lorazep, either O or A M. Yeah, my handwriting, it's like chicken scratch.
No, same.
But,
I'm glad whoever printed this.
That's me.
Good job, Gracie.
Prepared.
man, some good
Otherwise, I'd
handwriting.
have been like, I don't know what I'm reading.
I wrote this out by hand.
But yeah,
Yes.
again, shout out to Matthew James with Nab. I was introduced to this song through the same way as Hypochondriac Blues. Phenomenal. It's all, I don't even know what the instruments are. It's like, I don't know if it's like a synthesizer or what, but it's definitely electronic. And that paired with the vocals, which goes so high, like the pitch at the singer is like, the notes that they're hitting are just like, kind of insane because like, I mean, if it's a guitar, they're definitely playing up the neck, and I don't think it is, but it's just such a fun song, and not one that typically on paper I would like go after, because again, I'm more into like, heavy stuff. With like, rarely do I like get into a song, it's like that's like digital, meaning like, like computer or whatever. I like that stuff, but it's not really what I strive to listen to. But this song is just, again, it just sort of blows me away how you can like hear something that's so good, and it's like local or something. I think they're local. I don't know. I may be wrong, but it's so great when you just hear a song that's not everybody knows, and it's like, oh my God, there's this like phenomenal thing out there that like the entire world should know this or whatever. It's like that good. Like the quality is, the production itself is like clean. I mean, shit, like I had a crappy little 8-track, like it was like buzz and all this or whatever, but the production on it is amazing. The musicianship as a whole is just great, and so definitely check it out. And again, I apologize if I butchered either of those pronunciations. Hell, I probably mispronounced Pluto, and that's a common word. So that's my fifth. Mrs. Bruce.
My fifth recommendation, actually circling back to how you were talking about just like reaching out to people. My fifth recommendation is just being a good person.
Yeah.
And I feel like you can just kind of leave it there, to be honest. There's not much to being a good person.
They're like, but how do you do that?
How do I be a good
Basically, what
person?
you want to do is don't be a dick. You know? Yeah, I bleeped that out.
That's
Yeah.
what we bleep out.
Yeah, right?
But be a good person.
Out of everything,
have empathy for people, have compassion for people. You never
For
know
sure.
what people are going through. I think it's really easy to judge people. Kind of what you were saying is like reach out to people, even if you're, holding a grudge against someone. Like really, you don't ever know what they're going through, right?
Yeah.
Like the only experience we have is our own, and so just be a good person and be understanding and compassionate and empathetic towards people.
Perspective.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I mean, shit,
Yeah.
think of me. Like, I mean, people have put up with my bullshit over the years. And
I mean,
it's like,
same.
like,
Yeah.
fucking
Yeah.
Same.
everybody just, and everybody looks at Ren like, I'm good. I'm perfect. Shit.
I don't know what you guys are. I've always been good. No, yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. Thank you so much for that, man. We're getting some good recommendations today.
Be a
I feel
good
like
person.
this is an all-timer episode. Hurry.
Right.
Thank you for that. Ramses, do you want to go in?
My, what are we, fifth recommendation?
Yes.
I recommend, I mean, maybe not so much in Dallas, not really much places to go, but hiking. I recommend hiking because, you know what? And I say that because hiking for me has always been like a stress reliever,
Yeah.
the way it is, like how music and performing, there's this like release of, what's the science word to say? It makes me feel like good and present, instead of overthinking and just all that bad stuff, It's just something that I get a high off of hiking and going. Like, I love going like Colorado, Utah, like mountains is where I belong. Like, they don't call me
Clyde Warren Park in Dallas.
Yeah, that all right. There's that
Man.
Mount Melissa.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Melissa.
not very much going on here in Texas, but if you like hiking, I recommend it. Go Colorado, Utah, Wyoming,
Just
beautiful
go get
places.
lost in the mountains.
The Austin Mountains. If you like doing that, I recommend it. That's why it's on my list. What about you, Lucas?
Go take a hike.
That's what they tell me. Yeah,
Turn that into a positive. I like that.
exactly.
Yeah.
I would be like, I'd gladly go take a hike. Thank you for reminding me. Sorry.
I love. I need to hike more. I love the outdoor. I love just experiencing like nature.
Right.
Because of like, I don't know. I love like sunny weather now. So every time it's sunny, I'm just like, I'm acknowledging this. It's not
Yeah.
passing me
Yeah,
by. This is
you
a
know,
beautiful day. Like,
It's
so
like
great.
you feel, maybe for me, but like it's like being one with the earth almost. Like, you're
Yeah.
in nature and it's just very breathtaking. I love it.
So
Breath
easy
of the
to
wild.
not be like present, to be like dissociated, especially with our phones and stuff. And so
Yeah, that's
being
that's
outside
another
is
thing,
a good way
like,
to be grounded and present.
yeah.
Yeah. Those damn winter storms too. Like past 2
Oh my
years.
gosh,
that
yeah.
changed my whole perspective.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
And
for
our summers.
real. Yes, and the summers.
Yeah.
Like
Oh,
you can
that-
barely
yeah.
go outside. Yeah.
Hot AF out there.
Oh man. Yeah, that's what we got Twilight of the Kingdom for. Like, oh well, over here the weather's nice.
That's where I do my hiking. Legend of Zelda. Never been outside before, but looks really
Never
cool in
been on
Legend
an
of Zelda.
actual hike,
Oh, the
but
graphics were shit. All right, thank you for
I'm
that.
sorry.
My next recommendation is going to be a video game that I grew up on. It's called Suikoden. It's a JRPG. kind of similar to the older Zelda games. It's like a Suikoden 2 is my favorite. There's actually 5 games, but 2 is my favorite. It's more of like a 8-bit like RPG. You know, you select your attack and build your parties and increase your gear level and stuff like that. But the game just has a really, really good storyline about, you know, friendship and betrayal. And I feel like storylines in video games nowadays are so bleak. Like, it doesn't really even matter anymore.
It's about online. And
Yeah,
shit.
yeah. And they're so focused on graphics and other stuff. And also the music has one of my favorite songs to ever exist, which is Reminiscence, which is from that song. But yeah, I definitely recommend playing that. It's an original PlayStation game. But yeah,
OG.
it's beautiful.
It is very nice.
Did it come out here in the States, or was it like, did you have to?
So it did release. It actually was unfortunately released on the same week that Final Fantasy VII came out.
Oh,
so it got
Little known game.
Yeah, it got blown out of the water. But it is actually one of the most expensive sought-after PS1s to
Oh, wow.
exist. It's like over $300. It's like $400 for a copy with the case and manual and stuff.
Do you have a case?
No. I used to have 2 of them, and I have no clue where they are. But again, I also emulate that game, like Lord of the Rings, and I play it at least once a year.
Yeah.
Oof,
Yeah.
that's some good stuff.
Fun fact that I learned about that was where Lucas learned how to read. Was because of that game.
Oh my god, yeah. Lucas literally
It's a
learned
running
how to
joke
read.
that I learned how to read.
No, he just played it when he was really little.
No,
so.
when I was little, I could not stand reading. Like, I didn't like reading in school at all. And my dad would always get on to me like, "Why don't you read a book?" I'm like, "Dad, I'm playing this game, and it's literally
whole
all
story.
reading." Like,
Yeah.
because like back then, the characters didn't have voices.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
so
You have to
little
read,
pop-up,
yeah. Yeah.
That's great.
Actually,
And now I speak real good.
I don't speak real good, y'all. That's great. One more time, what was the game called?
It's called Suikoden 2, and it's Suikoden.
I bet.
2.
If you
Part 2.
misspelled it, it'll be boop. All right, wicked. Alrighty, yo, thank you for that. And down to our last recommendation. Dean's in the back, like, fine, let's get a skeleton.
Sorry.
No, it's all
It's like,
good.
God,
though.
these guys talk a lot.
I love it. But alrighty, gang. Well, my last recommendation is gonna be another song. It's one that's in Spanish. Cause fun fact, audience conversations with Aaron. I'm Mexican. I don't speak Spanish, but I am Mexican or whatever. I'm as pale as a ghost.
3
but,
amigos.
Right?
Yeah.
Really?
Mexicans right here
Hey.
don't know how to speak anything.
Heck yeah.
What's up?
I heard you say chingo. I was like, oh.
Except the bad words. I know how to say that.
Yeah. But,
Thanks to my mom and dad for that one.
heck yeah.
Shout out.
If y'all notice, I have my phone with me because obviously my handwriting is, horrible. So I want to make sure I'm getting this correctly. But the song is called. I'm mispronounced.
You got this. You're better off than us.
Ahora que hago sin ti by Jimmy Gonzalez y Grupo Mas.
Ooh.
Yes, it's an absolutely beautiful song. It's one of those songs, I thought it was better known. I kind of grew up listening to it because my parents would always play it. And yeah, again, one of those sort of comfort songs when I think of my parents, being together when I hear it, like as a little 3-year-old and whatnot. But yeah, an absolutely beautiful song, and again, it's sort of. I mean, I know what the basic. I'm pretty sure that translates to like being without you or something like that. But again, it kind of goes to the credit of just music as a whole. Like, I don't understand the words per se, but like the art of just creating noise is like enchanting and beautiful, and that's what this song is. Phenomenal, and definitely check it out even if you don't speak Spanish, and keep a keen eye out for the third verse. It's the most alpha thing ever, because like when he's going into the third verse or something like that, he does like a key change. It's a guy singing majority of it, but then he goes up in pitch, and then a girl takes over that matches that pitch that he did, and it's like
That's cool.
it's
That's
so
awesome.
freaking amazing. And like again, I don't sing well. But when I hear that, and when I hear stuff like that, I'm like, yeah, why would I even try to sing? I could never match Jimmy Gonzalez y Grupo Mas if I tried. But definitely check it out. It's a great one. Shout out to my family for introducing me to that song. And yeah, that's my final recommendation. Y'all want to finish us off?
Yeah. My final recommendation is my good friend Golden Boy Tattoo.
Oh my goodness! I think someone recommended that on a previous episode.
No way.
Golden Boy. I think
There's a lot. Okay, so there's Golden Boy Coffee, and then I think there's like
Golden
one
Boy hot dog.
other. There's like another Golden Boy like shop
Airbud?
around here in
Airbud.
Denton.
I
So
think Oscar
this is my
Oscar
good
De La
friend.
Hoya was also Golden Boy.
This
but-
is my good friend Hannah,
Okay.
and she recently started her own little side hustle. She's in between tattoo apprenticeships right now, but she also like designs merch and like stickers for bands and shirts and stuff like that. She's just a really great artist.
She's an awesome digital artist.
A great digital
Very much so.
artist. And yeah, hopefully she'll be landing an apprenticeship sometime soon and get some tats from her as soon as she does, because she makes some really funny just designs, just like lighthearted, funny designs. And yeah, she's also just a really good person, one of my best friends. So Golden Boy Tattoos,
Nice.
local tattooer,
That sounds
artist.
familiar.
Hell
Golden.
yeah.
Golden Boy, yeah.
Nice. Well, thank you for that. I'll have to check. Well, I don't know if I ever get a tattoo, but I'll tell someone to get a tattoo and I'll watch
There
it.
you go.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Ramses, would you like to give us your final recommendation?
For sure.
Dun.
Final recommendation is a local band from Austin. Debatably, probably my favorite artists from Texas for sure. They're up there. And just overall, my favorite band. They are called Forever Starts Today. I met them.
That's a good ass name.
It is good.
Fantastic. Met them back in 2016. The nicest people. The singer of the band, her name is Christina Murphy. Basically, my big sister. I love her so much. She's helped me through so much. Her music, like Forever Starts Today. What I always loved about them is, you know, a lot of us were out here singing like depressing stuff. You know, we're like, I wanna die, I wanna die. But this band,
Falling in my
yeah, no,
Literally.
literally. But this band, her lyrics are about hope, you know, like, and getting past that there
uplifting.
is a light at the end of the tunnel, you know. And I always love that about them, you know. They're always so like so hopeful. Like that's how I would describe like Forever Starts Today is.
Yeah, very
beautiful.
empowering.
Yeah, their
Uplifting-
lyrics
Uplifting. Yeah.
Mhm, very uplifting. Loved them. Forever Starts Today. Recommend.
They're also really good performers.
Oh, incredible.
like
Lord.
all of them,
Incredible
yeah.
performers, yeah. Love them. I love you guys so much. You guys are great.
Ooh, thank you. Love you too. Oh, thank you for that. Lucas, you want to finish us off?
All right, so my last one, going back to being Hispanic,
Yeah.
is
Shout out being Hispanic.
shout out being Hispanic. But yeah, my last thing is menudo. I love menudo. I make it at home.
Can't go wrong with it.
Kind of shout out to my dad as well, because he's from Brownsville, Texas, which is like right at the tip of Texas. And he grew up there and pretty much taught me everything I know about cooking. And menudo is just, it's normally eaten on Sundays, but if you drink a lot or go party or anything, it's the best hangover food. But yeah.
Yeah, he got our son addicted to menudo.
Yeah, our son
gotta
who
do
was,
it.
Yeah.
our son who was
Teach him
4
right.
loves
Start 'em off
menudo.
young.
If you're from Dallas, you ever go to O'Heather's?
Where is it?
O'Heather's,
ye-
it's like on Maple Street. It's,
I've definitely seen and heard of it.
yeah, it's like near that lake. It's O'Heather's, and it's like a very nice part of Dallas, and a very sketchy, is like scary. You
Right.
don't want to be out
Those
at
are the
night.
best places,
Those are the
though,
best
right?
restaurants.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Man. All right, well, yeah, thank y'all so much. It was 6 recommendations. I can't wait to check out all of these. What, 6, 12, 18, 24? 24 recommendations we have for y'all.
He's gonna be
lot,
up all
but hey,
night, like
Go
Absolutely.
do your homework.
being
Heck
a good
yeah.
person.
Well, thank you,
the
audience
rich.
audience of Conversations with Aaron. Hope y'all enjoyed those recommendations. We're gonna take a quick little break. When we come back, we're gonna see Moonstone perform live. I can't wait. 2 of their, not just one, but 2 of their songs. One of which I think is like an exclusive, unreleased song as of now, as of whatever today's date is, which will pop up here. And yeah, stick around. You won't want to miss it. Boop.
Bing bong.
And we're back. Thank you so much for sticking around. Alrighty, Moonstone, thank you so much for sticking around. I think we're gonna watch some live performances of y'all now. You are gonna perform for us. The first song I believe is called "You Thought." Is that correct?
That's
You
right.
thought.
What is it called? I bet. Well, before y'all perform it for us, do y'all want to preface it, give some little, behind the scenes, behind the song or whatever before y'all do it? Fill us in.
Yeah, this was actually the second song we wrote.
Technically.
Yeah, technically. We did, some songs here and there in between, like just experimenting, but this was the second, like,
This is the
full
first
song
Yes, there you go.
that we
Yeah.
wrote.
Full song.
Yeah, and it came I feel like this song came really naturally. Like, he came up with the intro part, right? And then the rest of the song just kind of fell into place after that.
Nice.
And I already had kind of an idea of what I wanted to do as far as lyrics. So yeah, it came really naturally, really organically, yeah.
All right, bet. Well, shoot, enough said, yeah. All right, y'all. Well, here's Moonstone performing "You Thought." Boom.
Take it away.
To the punch, blinded both my eyes. If I give you one more chance, you swear you'll make it right. It seems you can't come clean without controlling. Holy water doused on you would make everyone see. You thought that I'd be crawling back to you, and you thought that we would make it through. We'd make it through. I'd come back to you and we'd make it through. What kind of man are you? Never gave me much except a web of lies. You want me to trust, but you could never make this right. It seems you can't come clean without controlling. Holy water doused on you would make everyone see. You thought that I'd be crawling back to you, and you thought that we would make it through. You thought that I'd be crawling back to you, and you thought that we would make it through. We'd make it through. We'd make it through. What kind of man are you?
Damn, man, that was some good shit, y'all. Woo.
Thank you.
Lordy have
Yeah,
mercy.
we tried our best.
Yeah.
I love like the camera comes back. Now your hair is long. How long have they been waiting? All right, well, absolutely phenomenal stuff, phenomenal performance. Now, this is going to be interesting for me to talk about the song because I've had the pleasure now of seeing y'all perform it acoustically, but I've also heard like the studio version, so it's going to be interesting to sort of talk about both. But Lucas, so Gracie said that it started with that opening guitar riff. Tell me about that. Were you sort of fiddling around? Were you making like a conscious effort to begin the writing process of what became You Thought?
I don't think I'm ever making a conscious effort to do anything when I write the songs. It's usually me fiddling around on guitar, trying to figure stuff out, and then when I do figure something out, I take it to Gracie and and then she says yes or no, and that's usually it.
Pretty much.
But no, this song did come super organically.
Nice.
The intro part did come first, and I was like, oh, that'd be a super cool intro, and everything from there just
Fell into
moved
place.
forward, and the vocals for her came super naturally. we do have a little breakdown in this song, which is pretty cool to add to our genre. And that was kind of the icing on the cake for this song. It was the very, very last part we wrote. So.
Yeah,
for sure.
No, that breakdown right at the do right where it's sort of well, that's pretty good. And well, tell me about we'll get to the vocals, but like the between the two guitars or whatever. How was that like? The rhythm guitar. Rhythm guitars are slept on. Shout out Izzy Stradlin, my all-time favorite rhythm guitarist. But tell me about that. How do you, as a rhythm guitarist, like how do you sort of approach that role when making a song?
Well, like I think we had talked about this earlier. Like, I've never been a lead guitarist. I've never really like wanted to dive into that. But when we started doing this, and he wrote "Still Want More," and "You Thought," once I started learning kind of the chords that he was doing, I was like, oh, okay, like, well, maybe I can do this, maybe I can do that. And so that's kind of how I kind of go about writing with Moonstone, is very, very simple, very basic, 4 chords at most. And if I feel like there's something there where I'm like, if I could imagine what can Gracie do with this, what can Lucas do with this, then I'll approach them and be like, hey, like, I have these chords, like, what can we do with this,
Yeah.
And they're just so damn talented that they take it from there and they build something incredible. So
yeah, and I mean, it's so kind of like cool to like have the pleasure of watching y'all perform it live. Just like the way y'all play guitar. I mean, it's similar because obviously they're fitting, but then y'all kind of like have y'all's like unique like little strumming pattern and whatnot. And by the way, just sick instruments. By the way, my shit's like played in a fork or whatever. Call that a drum set. So like very impressive gear.
Thank you.
Thank you. And so going to the lyrics and whatnot, some lyrics that you thought I'd be crawling back to you, and we'd make it through. I'd come back to you, and we'd make it through. What kind of man are you? Very pointed lyrics, also. By the way, it's great stuff. And I want to ask it. I told this to you off camera, but I'll tell you on camera. I get very. I don't use this word often, but empowering. Like empowering is like a really big sort of patho that I garnered upon like listening to y'all's music. And tell me, was that a sort of like conscious thing to make it empowering because like, in contrast to, we were joking about like, writing sad songs or I'm sad. Like this one feels like there's a conscious effort to be whoever like this character is like, no, fuck you. Like I'm good. I'm going to be like, I'm not going to be, like a victim. Like I'm going to take control of my life and do this. And it's kind of great. So was that an effort for you to produce?
Definitely, yeah. I did want it to be, I definitely wanted it to be kind of an empowering song and almost like a victory song, I guess, for a lot of people, even if it wasn't necessarily for me. I have a lot of friends that I, felt like had stories that kind of go along with the lyrics and they could relate to it, and it was just, I don't know, the kind of hook, like "You Thought," was just kind of so like, I just wanted it to be like straightforward and just really blunt and almost kind of sarcastic in a way. So it was definitely like a conscious effort to be somewhat sarcastic, like victory song and very empowering. But it was definitely a conscious effort. And I feel like the lyrics came pretty naturally. I don't know, I'm a really big fan of vocalists who use, or I guess songwriters that use like what's the word I'm looking for? They use there's like a hidden meaning in their lyrics, I guess. Yeah. But I feel like for the longest time I tried to write that way and it just wasn't working for me. And like the best way that I write is if I can just be really straightforward and blunt with no hidden meaning behind the lyrics, just being really straightforward. So.
No, that's great, and that's something as I write, that's what I'm trying to like teach myself. It's like I'm trying to be all deep and all this, but
metaphorical. That's the word I was looking for. Yeah,
subtext. Yeah, it's great. Sometimes I like the idea of like when I had like my writing partner, I'm like, let's just write some shit, and then other people will put meaning into it. Like we'll just do it, but then they'll kind of like bring life into it. Whether or not that's a good way to write music, I do not know. But cool. Well, more about that, and again, going back to the lyrics, like this character and whatnot. Do y'all find, or like with this song in particular, and I guess Deep End too, do people hear this song and are they like, oh, that's about Gracie, and like do you get that? Like
that's the beauty of music, is that everyone has like their own, like what they're gonna interpret. Like, did I say that right?
Interpret, yeah.
Of what's it about, or is it about this person? And it could
well, that's
be.
One big thing that I pull from You Thought is that we all have, it doesn't have to be a romantic relationship.
Yeah.
It can be a friendship, and we all have relationships that we put way too much energy in, and we shouldn't.
Yeah, I think that was, sorry. I think that was part of You Thought, is like, I did kind of write it to be about like love interest, because I feel like people could relate to that. But it could definitely, it's not necessarily about like a love interest. It could be about any type of relationship.
Nice.
Just, a victory song of, I don't need you, I'm good. Yeah.
Peace out. Cool. And I just really...
Not today.
I really love the line, holy water doused on you would make everyone see. That's so revealing. Or not revealing, revealing is the right, that's so vivid of an image or whatever. That's kind of brilliant and just a little fun. Was that an easy line to come up with?
It was, actually. I feel like, I don't know, I think I talked about it earlier. When it comes to songwriting, I kind of treat it as a job, and I'll just like word vomit. And then if I have a specific song, instrumentals that I have to put lyrics over, I'll kind of pull from it. And so a lot of times, like when writing, I just write. There's no, I don't do it like in a song form. I just word vomit, and then I just pull from it. So that was something that I wrote, and I was like, that could work for the vibe of this song. So
Nice, awesome. And a couple of different ways I want to take this now. So obviously we just saw an acoustic performance of this, and performing live versus recording, because obviously like it's a different experience, right? Playing in front of people, blasting something on a car. And I guess Lucas, if you produce this, I guess this might be a question for you. When making this song, are you sort of gauging how the listener is going to be listening to it, like in what environment and whatnot? Because obviously, again, this is 3 cameras, a person named Aaron, a person named Sean Dean listening to it. And I just want to ask, and so when y'all perform it live, do y'all maybe like change it up a bit? Like, like, oh, since it's live, it's going to be this version as opposed to this. Like, is there any tinkering going on with this? Yeah,
absolutely. We actually have discussed this quite a few times, because, our one of our singles, Still Want More, it's it's written at 92 BP or 94 BPM, and it's a great song. But for live, since we want people to be kind of dancing around and our set have more energy, we actually do increase the BPM up to 100, just to give the song a little bit more energy and have it flow with the rest of our set more. But there's tons of little things that we do that is specifically for live stuff. All of our backtracks and extra noises and harmonies, and just the list goes on.
Well, I think too, like, and I'm sure this is kind of a standard for all like producers, but he, like, before we release a song, or like after he feels like he's done mixing and mastering one of our songs, he'll listen to it like everywhere, in the car, on earbuds. Like,
I am obsessive when it comes to, and most producers are. But I am obsessive about listening to the song, but also not. I'll sit there in my office and listen to it on repeat for days, but then I'll also go into my car and listen to it, go into her car and listen to it, buy a pair of cheap headphones and listen to it on my phone speaker, listen to it on a sound bar.
Everything.
I want to make sure that it sounds consistent to
like
every
single
listener.
way.
There's that one sound, like, everything's sounding good, but then you hear it from like a speaker, you hear buzz, like, shit, and then you have to go all the way.
Gotta restart it.
One day when it plays in a grocery store, you're like, oh my God.
No. As a mixing engineer, you train yourself how to hear all these different frequencies. So, like, I'll be playing it, and I'll be like, oh, that 4200 frequency, and she's like, I have no clue what you're talking about, but I can just hear exactly what frequency it is when it happens.
No, you're good. And I want to ask more about the song, because upon listening to it, even with the acoustic, first thing strikes me is the rhythm section, the beat. Like, it's very upbeat and whatnot, and like, it makes me want to like dance. It makes me want to move. It's, you know, I want to use the word pop. Are you okay with me? Like,
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
Okay, cool. It's like death metal. My
Oh,
bad.
no.
First of all,
Yeah.
Check yourself. But yeah, all y'all, I mean, the two songs I've heard by y'all, and even the one with the music video, say
Still One More.
Yeah, yes, yeah, like all of them had that like nice little rhythm. And so, like, are y'all making songs also like, well, we want the audience to feel this way, we want them to be upbeat and dancing when we perform live? Is there that sort of awareness too, like with y'all's songwriting process, like specifically I guess with this song, that y'all have that in mind, like we want it to be a song that gets the audience to do this and whatnot?
Definitely.
for sure.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like going into it, like when Lucas and I decided that this was going to be a thing, and that we were going to start writing, it was like, I want this to be as fun as possible for the listeners, for us to play. I want it to be like dancey and really like rhythmic and melodic. So yeah, that was a conscious effort, is to keep it like groovy and fun for everyone, for us to play, for, you know, the listeners, for whoever's watching us play live. We definitely wanted to keep an energy going that was, you know, high energy, I guess I should say. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, the sort of amazing thing about this, again, going like the lyrical content, you know, we're kind of stating it being empowering, and it being a very upbeat song, very cathartic, like moving, and just like, you know, you can picture someone having gone through like a bad day, but listen to the song, just like, fuck yeah, and like just like getting out and moving. So that's absolutely phenomenal. And as the vocalist, well, first, standard tuning for this?
Standard.
Standard, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Common thing for y'all songs y'all ever play with?
No, yeah, I think everything's been standard.
Everything's been
Yeah.
standard so far.
We usually only mainly use like the bottom 3 strings too.
That's crazy.
Which is so funny, such the opposite of like
Yeah.
what you guys played in the past. Is like
You know-
metal is like the top
Yeah.
three.
But that metal is still deep in there. Like that's why like that the breakdown that we have for You Thought, you know, it was just one of those things where it was the last thing that we had finished for that part. But when we started doing it, you know, it was like, are we gonna do a breakdown? We're not a metal band, but it was just something where it just like it felt right, you know, because that's still who we are. But let's make it something that you can dance to in a mosh pit, you know, like the happiest breakdown that you can think of,
Yeah.
you know. So
Yeah, we love being like a hodgepodge of
yeah,
genres.
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
yeah.
Man, y'all's concerts, like metalheads and all these pop.
And our drummer is actually like a tech death drummer. Like
Yeah.
literally plays like
Oh, yeah.
super crazy, like
So who knows? You might see that at a
super
show.
talented drummer. But he still gets down and loves our music. He's super
Yeah.
passionate about Moonstone, which
It's a
is
sign of a good musician, man. Being able to,
Absolutely.
you know,
Yeah.
diversify.
Yeah.
Shout out to Connor.
yeah,
Shout out Connor.
the best musician in the band probably.
That's great. Oh man, what's that Beatles quote? It's like, Ringo's not even the best drummer in the Beatles. Oh, that's freaking great. And I guess just how your vocals and whatnot. Because again, I mean, I'm a singer. I'm not a good singer, but like, just how is that? You know, when you're really kind of getting into You Thought You, like, it's just like, is that effortless for you, just singing like that? Like, I mean,
Yes.
and I guess even All
We'll
right,
answer
damn,
first.
Kurt,
Yeah.
my client.
What's so funny is I don't think it is, like, in the sense that, like, for example, we just wrote the last song on our EP, and anytime I write, like, I always will bring the first version of whatever I write to them, and then like we'll go back and forth about, I like this, I don't like this. Every time I write something, I go to them, I'm like, I hate this. Like, not that I hate it, but I don't feel like this is it, I don't know. And then I show them and they're like, that's it. Like, and then they put it on top of the instrumentals and they're like, yeah. And I feel like it has kind of been like that every song. But even this last song that we just finished like 2 days ago, I was like, oh yeah, I wrote this, but like, I don't know how I feel about it. I don't know how, because it's different like when you hear it recorded on top of the instrumental versus just like singing along with the instrumental, you know, and just hearing how the vocals are placed on the track. So we recorded it, and I told Lucas, I'm just going to show you like my ideas for it, and then showed him the verses and the choruses that I wrote, and he was like, yeah, that's it. Like, so through the writing process, like I said, I try to show them like even my first draft, and I very like almost nervous showing them because I'm just like, I don't know how I feel about it. I'm very unsure about it. And most of the time I show them my first draft and they're always like, yeah, that's it. So.
And she strikes gold 99% of the time.
Yeah.
That 1%. No.
Yeah, that
Run,
1%.
yeah.
Well, that's great. And so just curious, I guess with both aspects, like instrumental and, well, first off, again, this is referring to like the studio recording. Y'all record everything like individually, separately, like together as a band? Is it sort of like you lay down like the rhythm section first and the vocals on top sort of thing?
Oh yeah, we do everything separately for
Okay.
sure. Yeah.
But, and just curious, like between, y'all as the guitarist and I guess, Connor, the drummer also, do you do bass? Do you like in the studio?
I do write all the bass parts. A guy named Roger is our bassist right now.
Shout out to Roger.
Shout out to Roger.
That boy.
At home.
Aaron, from American Dad, Roger there.
Same Roger.
Right.
Yeah.
Just curious, like, can y'all recall or like, what, like, did it evolve much? You were talking like the first draft, I guess, for vocals, but I mean, was it like that for instrumentals too? Like, sort of like mix and match, or maybe let's try this right here, or even like the breakdown. Are we going to have a breakdown? Again, I know y'all said it sort of came organically, so I like to imagine it probably just was streamlined, but can y'all recall like, oh, it was actually different at one point. I sang it this way, or I played this guitar part.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Especially our first song, Still Want More.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
Still
It took us like,
Want More.
we were still trying to figure out like our sound and what we sound like, because we did want to create kind of a unique sound. Like we wanted our own signature sound that was like pop but still rock and electric and all of this stuff combined. And so Still Want More, it took us months, literally months to write
Started it
that
in
song.
October 2022, and we didn't have it finished until like, what, February?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like it took us forever just because
For one
again,
song.
it took so much experimenting to figure out like, what do we want to sound like?
Yeah.
And I don't know, I think too, we wanted to release the songs that, it's not like we wrote a bunch of songs and then we picked from that for our EP. We kind of just wanted to write and just put them on the EP, just like have it be organic like that. But yeah, Still Want More took forever, and I had different, I had some different vocal melodies like for that one. I think. We went back and forth.
On the project for the instrumentals, there was like the song, like, and it still exists. There's like the song that is how it is today, and then after it, down the piano or down the scroll, there's like all these other parts that were
Yeah.
in
It's like
the song at
version
one
80,
point.
final 82.
Yeah.
Like,
Literally, when I was bouncing the song, it would be
Official
like,
version,
"Still Want
final
More,"
form.
97.
yeah, literally.
So that'll probably come out when it hits the 20th anniversary for the EP.
But what's
We'll do all the
funny
demos.
is since Still Want More, it's gotten easier and easier, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah.
I
Yeah,
feel like
for
it
sure.
was just
I feel
like
like
song after song.
There are
after
days
song.
when it's not.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
But
The songs definitely, once we find something that we really like, we're able to add on to it and finish it so much faster.
really
now.
quick.
Quickly,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good stuff, dude. Well, sort of the last thing, I guess, maybe about the samba in general. A lot of rehearsal. Rehearse.
Oh,
a
yeah.
lot, hella. Yeah.
Especially us three.
Yeah,
Yeah.
us three get together at least once a week, and then the full band usually every other week.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, nice. Well, that's You Thought. Y'all, any closing comments on it before we see y'all perform Deep End?
Thanks for listening to You Thought.
Yep. Thank
Got
you
a
for
really good response
watching.
from that song. Yeah.
Thank you.
or-
It's a damn
yeah.
good song.
Thank you so
Check
much.
it out on Spotify.
Yeah.
Spotify.
Oh,
We got a
last-
YouTube.
Are we gonna expect like music videos for this song? Anything else going beyond the song itself? Because obviously, this other song
we
has
are
with
planning-
11,000 views as of today.
We are planning on doing some kind of playthrough, I think, for You Thought, but we're not exactly sure how we're gonna do it.
We're getting through the EP
'cause you have a
release.
guitar playthrough, don't you, on YouTube? Like
Yes.
you playing
Yes.
guitar?
Yeah, you do,
That's
yeah.
nice.
You
nice.
did your research.
Yeah. Who's this guy commenting on my video at 3 in the morning?
Right.
Yeah, it's more us trying to decide what songs we are going to create content for at this point.
For sure. Yeah, now that the EP itself is kind of like finished in a sense of we have the songs that we want.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's like, all right, well, exactly what you said. What are we going to use to put out content?
Which is hard, 'cause
What's
we-
the next music video? What song? So
Yeah.
Man,
It'll be there. It'll be
hit
there.
up your boy if y'all need that.
Hey, yeah.
That's
Yeah.
why I was asking.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah,
nice.
I look around. I'm like,
Heck yeah. Hank Hill. But, all right, well, thank y'all so much for that.
Thank you.
Well, I think you are going to perform Deep End. Y'all want to preface it before we see y'all perform it?
This is an unreleased song.
yeah.
Conversations with Aaron exclusive.
Exclusive, yes.
Not been out yet.
Expect on Spotify within the next 3 months.
3 months. It's like, this reminds like TRL back in the day.
Yeah.
Exclusive, you know, right? The Killers, Mr. Brightside, worldwide debut.
Yeah. That's so funny.
All right,
Yeah.
cool. Let's go and see y'all perform Deep End.
Take it away.
Take it away, Moonstone. Yes, Moonstone.
Follow me around, push me to the ground, hold me down underwater until I drown. A pool of serpents, you'll throw me in. You've always been a narcissist and I can't handle it. You lead with your ego. Get a grip, sink your teeth in. I scratch and scream and bite. Throw me in the deep end. How do you sleep at night? A poison apple dropped to the floor. Walk over my body, you don't care anymore. A pool of serpents, you'll drown me in. I've always been resistant and you just can't handle it. You lead with your ego and it makes me sick. I just won't let it go and you can't handle it. Sink your teeth in. I scratch and scream and bite. Throw me in the deep end. How do you sleep at night? Now he's on the prowl, he's gonna hunt you down. A lone wolf with his nose down to the ground. Just run away or he'll throw you in. He's always been a narcissist and it makes me sick. And I just won't let it go. Get a grip, sink your teeth in. I scratch and scream and bite. Throw me in the deep end. How do you sleep at night?
Woo! All right, equally if not better than the first song. Good stuff, y'all. All right, well, tell us about the. Well, it's unreleased, so would y'all say is it finished? What we heard, is that essentially how it's gonna be?
Yes.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's acoustically.
Yeah, it's the
Yeah.
core.
It's
The
the core.
You'll get like a more it's pretty hard hitting. It's gonna make you wanna shake your ass, you know, and get down and
Go off the deep end.
go off the deep end. That's
I shake my ass when
Yeah.
there's not music playing.
I love it. Well, all right. Well, tell me about this. Was it? What was this sort of? Did it start from a guitar riff? Was it sort of? What was the sort of nucleus of it?
I don't even remember.
It was
I-
the intro as well,
Yeah.
wasn't it?
Uh,
Do-do-do-do-do.
That's
Oh wait, that's you
fun.
thought.
No,
She don't even know
no.
our songs.
Wait.
Da-da-da-da.
Okay,
No,
yeah.
It
Okay,
actually,
all right, sorry.
it actually, I came up with the chords for the chorus first, and
Okay.
I came up with that chord combination, and I was literally hooked,
Mm-hmm.
like immediately. And I showed it to Gracie. I'd made the chorus first, and it just all kind of connected from there.
Yep.
Also, the chorus, right before the second chorus, there's a really pretty guitar break. And I had written that guitar break and put it next to the chorus. And we were all just immediately like, okay, there's something there for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, some good stuff, dude. And it's amazing how just switching stuff around like that. Like, pretty cool.
Yeah,
yeah, for
sure.
Simple things like that.
That's my life.
Man,
That's what he does best.
I want to ask about your lyrics, by the way. You thought I had this with me too, but like we're talking about Paramore. This is like reminds me of some Paramore songs, and I want to ask you like this like very interesting, fascinating thing, you know, between I suppose the first verse and I guess what would be like the third verse perhaps. The first verse, you know, you've always been a narcissist and I can't handle it. So you said the word I, right? I can't handle it. You fast forward. He's always been a narcissist and it makes me sick. And I don't know, it's just this like brilliant sort of like POV change and whatnot. It's sort of like proclaiming, you know, whoever this person is, treating them a certain way. But then it switches almost like giving a warning. Like they, yeah, like and
Thank
that's
you for
kind of
noticing that.
Yeah,
I
right.
appreciate that. Yeah.
my meteorics didn't agree. The degree didn't go unnoticed, folks.
Yeah, I love I love switching things up like that and just making the lyrics interesting while still keeping them really catchy and straightforward and honest, like I was saying. So yeah, I'm glad you got on that. And it was actually the first verse and the second verse and the third verse I wrote first, and then I wrote the first one.
So the second verse being, I've always been resistant and you just can't handle it?
Yeah, so that was, I wrote that one first, and then, like I said, the third one I wrote the second verse, the chorus, and then the third verse first. And I felt, once I put the tracks down, I was like, yeah, this doesn't really feel like a first verse. I need to write something else for the first verse and then have those be the second and third. And at the end of it, when we were done with it, and I wrote the first verse and recorded it, it just like flowed so well through the first verse, the second, and the third. And yeah, it just made sense to have that kind of perspective change at the end as well. So yeah,
it's
I
great.
was speaking about my experience and then kind of a warning, like you said.
Yeah. Deep End, such a great sort of thing. Is it easy for y'all to come up with titles for y'all song?
Yeah,
I'd
I
say
feel
so.
like it.
That's low-key the hardest thing for me.
Normally I'll like name the project something, and then that ends up being the name.
Well, I remember when you said Deep End, because I didn't have a title for it, or I kind of did in the back of my mind, but I didn't say anything. He just named the project, and then I laid down all of the second and third verse in the chorus, and he named the project Deep End, and I was like, hey, that's what I was, wanting to call it. I mean, obviously that's like the hook, but yeah, that's what I wanted to call it. But yeah, so I feel like it's been pretty easy. This last song that we just finished on the EP.
Say it again.
Yeah, we had like two options. And we just discussed that yesterday, like, oh, it's either this or this, and then we named it, so yeah.
Yeah.
Great stuff. And well, speaking of those verses, again, that's some masterful stuff, dude. You've always been a narcissist and always been resistant, like the way you're able to like sort of match like that sort of vocal melody, like connecting those words is really great. And yeah, just good lyrics. That's all I need to say. Just good lyrics.
I'm really obsessed with like, even if
throw me in.
If words don't necessarily rhyme, like I'm obsessed with how lyrics work phonetically.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
I saw something. I think it was like what is this? Oh, I Want It That Way. That song by what? Who was that? Backstreet Boys, or was that NSYNC? I don't know. Whichever one.
One of those.
I think
Tokyo
it was
Hotel.
NSYNC.
There you go.
Right? I don't know. But they had different lyrics for that entirely. And then when they went to their producer to record it, they were like, this just isn't working phonetically. It doesn't roll off the tongue. Like the I Want It That Way, that just works. Like when you say that, it just feels like they're all kind of this like similar mouth shapes. I want it that way. And so I don't know. I watched that, and I watched a bunch of videos about how phonetics work and lyrics, and I've been like obsessed with it since then. Just like even if specific words don't rhyme, how like other words that I can use to kind of go along with it and make it work phonetically.
Nice.
So.
She's basically the next Eminem.
I think that was his
That is
an interview
interesting,
with
though.
him.
He did say something like that. It's interesting.
No,
Yeah.
he was insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rhyming
Just did a,
orange.
Eminem
I think
verse.
that's what it was. He
That
was like,
perfect.
can you rhyme with orange or something? And he like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's the way
wrote
he
a rap.
like enunciates and the way
Yeah.
he performs it.
Yeah.
Great stuff. And well, tell me about any challenges with this, like coming with the instrument. Same thing. Instrumentation was done. Vocals on top. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, that's pretty much how it always is.
Is that the way you prefer to,
I
or
do.
is that just the only way?
I like to have like the core, not done, obviously, but like laid out for me to just write to, because I write everything typically unless something doesn't work. For example, like this song, the what's now the second verse was going to be the first, and I was like, that just doesn't work. I like to write everything in one go. So like I said before, and I've said a couple times, I'll just like word vomit and then take from it. So I just take the instrumentals and I'll just write all at once, like taking from word vomit pages that I've written down in the past. So yeah, I like to write everything like all at once for the most part. So
Good.
Yeah.
Okay, great. And with this, it's the same like y'all perform it live, make it a little faster. Any changes y'all foresee coming when that magical day comes?
Not for deep end.
no,
for deep.
I feel like it's hard hitting enough
Mm-hmm.
to where live it'll like really get people up off their feet and dance, and yeah.
Okay,
Maybe
great.
changes me.
You never know, though. You
Yeah,
never
who
know.
knows? Yeah,
Yeah.
where it might evolve
Punk
to.
rock version of it.
Yeah.
Right.
200 BPM.
That's during our practices. We can't help but like throw down a
I
metal
know,
breakdown. Just
yeah. I know, yeah.
Especially me.
yeah, Lucas and Connor, they just immediately
The double bass.
We're gonna go drop D tuning real fast
Yeah.
or whatever.
after just playing like Still Want More or something like very chill.
It's great. I want to ask y'all just about performing live. How does that feel? Are there nerves behind it? Is it sort of nervous, but then once you perform, all that goes out the window? Just because again, watching y'all, it was just great. Me and Sean, shout out Sean Crawford, helping me on the camera. Dina also just watching y'all, just felt like we both did like one takes of each, right? It was one clean take, and I mean, just like, what is there like much preparation? Is it just like, yeah, I mean, just how was that? Because again, it just felt so seamless, as the audience could clearly see. Yeah, just tell me about that.
We're glad it looked seamless to you.
Yeah, because we were shitting
Enough.
bricks up there the whole
We were
time. I'll
shaking
tell you
like
what.
Oh,
a
that's
leaf.
better.
Yeah.
No, I have like pretty bad stage fright, to be honest. Like, especially in the past when I've played with bands, I just would get really nervous to the point where I'd work myself up into like a anxiety attack, especially if I knew there weren't going to be like a lot of people there and it was more of an intimate setting. It was, yeah, I had a lot of anxiety about performing. But what's funny is with Moonstone, I feel less anxiety, and I don't know, maybe it's because I've just gotten older and am more, confident and sure of myself. Really, I think that's what it is. I love this, like, I genuinely love the songs that, like, we're playing. When we write them, I'm like stoked to play them live. I'm like, oh my gosh, I cannot wait to play this live because they're so high energy, and so yeah, I get anxious like thinking about it, but more excited than anxious, which is totally different from me playing live in the past. And yeah, definitely more excited than anxious now. Yeah.
No, nice.
Yeah.
That's good. And so, well, I mean, obviously, all played.
Yeah,
show before.
for me, I'm not worried about performing at all. I'm more worried about, I do everything on the studio side, so like I have to worry about running backtracks and making sure that she has a good mix and that Connor's getting click and that our transitions into songs are all good, on top of worrying about my performance. And so my anxiety is more towards making sure all the backing stuff is
Sort of
going
big
well.
Technical,
Yeah.
Because if I fail at that, the whole band fails.
Yeah.
No
I
pressure.
get to play and have fun, and they do the
Right.
legwork.
Right.
Yeah.
But the performing part, I love performing.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
I definitely feel like when, like leading up to it, like on the drive over here or just anything when it's like leading up to it is always the part where I have the most anxiety. Once we start playing and we're in the music, it feels like so natural, like everything just kind of goes away and I'm just in the moment with these two and these songs, and like you said too, I'm very proud of these songs. These songs are awesome and I love them and I'm very stoked to play them. So yeah, that's, I've never been so much of a writer when it comes to music, more so a performer. I love to perform and I love to like have a good time with the audience, like I'm not gonna play something technical, but I'll jump down there and I'll high five you and just have fun with it, like we'll dance together.
Crowd surf.
Yeah.
That's some good stuff, dude. And I want to ask, like, I mean, obviously I had the privilege of, listening to y'all's actual recording or something close to the actual recording. Do y'all like test songs like before releasing them, or do y'all just sort of like have them and release them? Like, does it go through any sort of like audience feedback sort of thing?
I think
And if so, like I imagine like maybe like, oh, there's a song I'm working on, blah blah blah.
yeah, there's a lot of that. We
For sure.
send it to our best friends and some of our family members, some other
Musician
local
friends.
artists, and
Yeah.
for me, some other mixers and producers, just to kind of get what they think about it, because the more ears, the better.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And well, last kind of two things, and we'll wrap up. So I want to ask you more, lyrics. So how do you sleep at night? You lead with your ego. Very pointed. It just makes me think of, being where I am. I see a lot of like toxic masculinity type things or whatever. I want to say with your lyrics, can we expect more of that sort of like pointed, like, sort of empowering yourselves and like, because, it's, yeah, like on that sort of thing, like, going against or whatever, like sort of toxicity that like is presented in like relationships or just whatever. Is that sort of what you kind of not enjoy writing, but like that's what like kind of speaks to you?
Yeah, I would say so. I really like the contrast of like happy sounding music and really
Yeah.
sad lyrics. I love that, or like angry lyrics. But yeah, I did want to, I want to continue doing that. I feel like, especially with this last song that we just finished up on, it gives a little bit more diversity to the album or to the EP, because I didn't want every song to be about the same thing. I wanted to add some diversity, but yeah, I definitely want to continue writing lyrics that are empowering and just really powerful and moving in a way, and have kind of like an angry tinge to it. I don't know, angry or maybe somewhat sad, but yeah, I think it goes along really well with the high energy instrumentals, just kind of like fierce and empowering. And so yeah, I definitely want to continue writing songs like that. But I know in the future, especially after the EP is released, I really want to experiment with even not different genres entirely, like we're not going country,
Right.
but
Oh God.
but I do want to really experiment with like my writing style and my lyrics and my vocal melodies, and just do basically like whatever speaks to me. I don't want there to be barriers to this band personally. Like I want to be able to write whatever I want, talk about whatever I want. That's just me personally though. So after the EP, I think there will be more experimentation with me personally, my vocal style and my writing, but we'll see. I'm not really trying not to plan too much for this project.
Let it happen
I just want to
organically
like,
like it is.
do whatever I'm feeling that week or that month, or so.
Oh, well, nice. Well, deep. And any closing comments on it before we start wrapping things up, y'all? Anything I perhaps didn't touch on, because I'm just a single Aaron fellow.
I don't think so. One thing I do want to shout out is that Gracie and I make our living off of teaching music lessons
Oh yeah, and producing,
and
artists,
producing
yeah.
other artists.
So
Man, a good interviewer would have gotten that answer out organically.
no, that's okay. Yeah, so if you need music lessons or if you're looking for a home studio, hit us up at Spark Music.
You're going to see
Yeah.
me there. Aaron, aren't you a musician already?
And we
And
did leave
actually
a card
Ram-
right there for
yeah.
you too.
Oh,
Yes.
that's
And
right.
actually, Ramses is joining the Spark
Yeah,
Music
he's-
team.
He's actually going to be one of
Yeah.
our teachers
One of
as
the
well.
teachers, yeah. So,
So
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
I'll be one of y'all's students.
you ever seen?
I'll be the first person that fails y'all scores. Man.
But yeah, expect our EP coming up really soon. Keep your
August.
eyes peeled.
Keep an eye out. We
Yeah.
have a show. Our first show will be announced very soon.
Yeah.
So yeah, follow us on Instagram, Facebook,
TikTok.
Grindr,
Spotify.
Not the Grindr.
MySpace.
Bumble.
Put us on your Spotify playlist.
Yeah, yes, please.
Like, follow,
Yes.
subscribe,
Monthly
share.
listener, yes.
Yeah. I love how y'all said all that. I didn't even have to prompt y'all. Like that was
We got it. We got this.
I agree.
This ain't
Well-
our first rodeo.
Well, since we got that out the way, the last thing I just kind of want to ask y'all, sort of, I don't know what the word is, meditative, I don't know. But just right now, here at this year, how would y'all describe yourselves? Like where y'all are. Like
Ooh,
what,
yeah.
what phase is Moonstone in? Y'all weren't expecting that
Weird.
one.
I
Yeah,
know,
that was a
was-
good
I
one.
was-
I
I
would
was
say
ready for that one.
probably, I don't know.
Because
That's a good question.
I
Oh,
truly
yeah.
believe like all the artists I interview, it's like, I want this to be something y'all look back on 10, 15 years or whatever. Just like, oh, those are our humble beginnings and whatnot. I had the utmost faith.
It's the birth of Moonstone, but it's the growth of us individually.
Of
I
us,
think.
yeah, that's a
Absolutely,
really
yeah.
good,
Like, I don't think we could have done Moonstone back in 2017. Like, I don't think
No.
any of us mentally.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm not saying that
Especially
there's a
not me.
lot into
Wasn't
it, but-
available.
Yeah, that too. No, I don't know. There is just something where everything led up to this moment. You know, like everything. I
Perfectly,
felt like
yeah.
happens for a reason, and
Yeah.
it just feels right. This feels right to be doing this. You know, so
Yeah, and I feel like even compared to, bands that I've been in the past or musical endeavors that I've done in the past, I'm like, and I'm sure it'll only get better, but I'm like finally like confident in myself. I don't know, as a musician, like I feel like a lot of times with musicians or artists, you kind of get that imposter syndrome where you're
Oh,
like, am
yes.
I a real musician? Like, am I like really doing
Absolutely.
this? Am I actually a good musician? But I finally feel like proud of like what we're releasing or what we're doing, or
Yeah.
and it just feels fun. It doesn't feel like work. Like I don't feel like like I have to write another song. I'm like so excited to.
for sure.
Maybe for me, I don't know about you guys. You guys write like all the time, but
The
yeah.
music, our music never feels like work. It's
No,
more
it's
the
fun.
work
Yeah.
behind it all.
Yeah.
For sure.
So,
Yep.
alrighty. Well, last thing, each individually. We were talking about like sort of, I guess, bouts of depression, sadness, or whatever. It's inevitable. That stuff happens again. So, this is something I've never done before. It just came to me like 10 seconds ago or whatever. Each one of it individually look at the camera and say something to y'all's future selves, like if something ever happens, just like words of comfort or inspiration, just something y'all can look back on at this episode, because it also helps me continue to get views because y'all keep looking back at the video. Go ahead. I will go first. Just keep doing your thing, man. You're doing all right. You're not that terrible of a guy, and just keep believing in yourself and take it easy. Just like, with Gilly, stop making sense and just do what makes you happy. Everything will be okay. Bam.
Yeah, just keep going. Kind of the same thing. Keep going. Just be confident. Be sure of yourself, even if you have to fake it a little bit. You don't need like others' validation. Just go with your gut and do your own thing.
Hi, future Ramses. You're doing great, buddy. I know it's hard, and I know you want to cry. Go ahead and cry. It's okay. Like, just let it out. Everything's gonna be okay. You got this.
Quit. Give up. Don't. No, I'm just kidding.
Cursed.
And stop using humor to escape your problems. No, but for real, same thing. Like, don't give up. Keep going. Don't compare yourself to other people. That's the biggest thing. Stop comparing.
Amen.
That's all I got.
And y'all want to give a shout out to y'all as a child or children?
Oh yeah.
Oh, shout
ahead,
out
babe.
Ollie. Shout out our son Oliver. Sweet little. He's our biggest fan. He knows all of the
He knows
words
all
to
the lyrics.
every
Front to
single
back.
song, front to back. He does not skip a beat. If we're in our home studio practicing, running through our songs, he's there screaming along to the song.
He's probably gonna take over the band.
He probably
honestly.
will. Yeah, he'll after we retire, he'll just come in and
He'll keep
take
it
over.
going.
So shout out Ollie, we love you.
Shout out Ollie.
Love
Well,
you,
well,
dude.
thank y'all so much. Well, I think that will conclude today's episode. Thank you, audience, for sticking around. Shout out Dean. Shout out Sean for
Thank you,
helping
guys.
Thank you.
or allowing this episode to come to life. Thank you, Moonstone. It was an absolute pleasure.
Thank you.
Keep
Thank
on
you.
rocking, dude. I'm fucking
Yeah.
looking forward to what
Yeah,
it is.
thank
so
you so much.
Yeah,
And,
giving us this
Thank you.
platform.
of course, thanks for being on.
Absolutely.
But alrighty, well, take it easy, audience and conversations with Aaron, and we'll see y'all next time. Bye.